Boom. Okay. Fresh. You are live. Alright, got a confirmation from the YouTube. Got a confirmation from Mixer. Yes. And Twitch. Waiting on that one. So while Twitch connects, I'm gonna grab that beer.
Throat rat.
So it's doing better, man. I was afraid that I was not going to be able to speak today, but no, I'm good. It was worse over the weekend.
Infection, you said?
Yeah, it was some sort of throat infection. It came and it went. It came back again. It sucked, but I'm good.
What I miss?
Throat infections.
Oh, those things. Yeah, they're no bueno. Okay. Haha, Twitch has connected. They're all up. Huzzah. Fun, right?
Fun. So I guess you'll let us know when to hit record.
Indeed. So I will, if everyone's ready, you guys got your Audacity or audio recording devices ready?
Yes.
Mr. Hibiki Travis?
Waiting on the button.
Okay.
On the button call.
3, 2, 1, go. Welcome to the Red Leaf Retrocast. This is the Wrestlecast. I'm not only joined here with one guest, but a special one. It is Travis and Rad Zero. We're all here. I'm looking forward to this. This is episode 3. We have a lot to talk about. We are coming off of the greatest Royal Rumble, but was it the greatest? We will definitely answer that later. We also have a lot of indie events. A couple major indie events that we didn't get to in the last cast on WrestleMania weekend. And everything that's happened in between, all across the globe in the wide world of wrestling. Rad Zero, how are you today?
Hey, what's going on, JD? I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. And again, thank you for having me back on another episode of the Wrestlecast. Here we are, episode 3. I'm looking forward to a ton of awesome topics that we have in store for our audience, and very excited to be here, man.
And I'm not only joined by my buddy Rad, I'm also joined here with now his second appearance on the Red Leaf Retrocast. He is on the wrestling one now. It is Travis. How you doing?
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm happy to have you. And before we get into this wide world of wrestling, I think it's only appropriate that both you guys, just since you guys are helping me out with this wrestling cast, getting it all going and started, why don't you do your own self-plugs? Rad, since you're the veteran of the cast now, why don't you do your plugs first?
Sure. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Rad Zero. You can find me on YouTube, Rad Zero. I touch base on both pro wrestling and retro gaming. I'm a huge toy collector. If you like WWE figures, I highly suggest check me out. I am also on Twitter at Rad083. Same deal. I tweet a lot of wrestling stuff, retro gaming stuff, pictures of my collection, items that I want, things like that. So feel free to check me out and follow me on Twitter.
Okay, excellent. Yes, everyone should definitely do that. All the names and names and whatnot is in the description below. You can also find all the stuff that Travis is about to say because he's got a lot of stuff to plug. So go ahead, Travis.
Yeah, I'm the man behind the plan with a very bad tan. Behind Hibiki TMD on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter at the Hibiki TMD, the essential in that. A lot of people don't. There's 2 accounts, a parody account. Somehow somebody made one of mine. I don't know why. Anyway, the Hibiki TMD. And yeah, Hibiki TMD on YouTube. Retro gaming, pro wrestling, a hybrid mixture of nerdy goodness. We got you covered. Way too many shows to list. I just, quite frankly, don't feel like going down the list of them. But yeah, check it out. We got you covered.
Fantastic. Yet again. Well, Rad, I promised it in the last cast, and I'm delivering. We are now live on not only YouTube, but the Twitch and the Mixer right now. And are you guys familiar with Mixer? I imagine not many people are.
I'm not. Maybe Travis is?
It is Microsoft's answer to Twitch. I am actually quite digging it. I like the quality, so I like to, I'm giving Mixer a good thumbs up right now. I like everything they're offering. You can find the podcast live, such as tonight. Monday Night Raw is in Montreal. First time in 4 years, and SmackDown hasn't been there in 10 years. To give you a little perspective, the last time a major Canadian Raw or SmackDown WWE live event, Bret Hart made an appearance.
Wow.
Yeah. This is not counting Toronto. This is everything else. That was a fact I got to look up today.
Is that counting when Jerry Lawler had a heart attack in Montreal at Raw?
That was the same night, I believe.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Pretty crazy to think about. But also crazy to think about is the fact that a WWE, WWF, WWF legend, Bruno Sammartino, has unfortunately passed away. He was getting on in years, you might say, but as Chris Jericho said, he looked like he could still kick some ass.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm aware of the guy. I'm aware of the wrestler, but I never took the time to actually go back and see any of his matches. I don't know about you guys. Travis, you're more familiar with the guy than I am, that's for sure.
You know the old rubber LJN figures, of course, the original line. That was the first one I ever had, was the Bruno one as a kid. And as a kid, I remember like, who the hell is this? I never did. And then like this is like my grandfather's favorite wrestler. That's what everybody says. It's my dad's favorite wrestler. That's pretty much polar opposite. It has not aged well in ring wise. I would say the way that, you know what I mean, like the way the styles have evolved. It is the polar opposite of today. You just gotta appreciate it for the time, I guess, but. You know, they talk about Bruno. He really was. He was not a cult hero. He was a hero for the Italian people. Everyone knew Bruno. The thing about Bruno, when they would try him out in different territories, he didn't always get over. And that's some of the things that get less talked about, like how he like bombed in like Houston or one of them. But anyway, where he was prominently featured, where he belonged, he was treated like a god. He was a god. His reign of like 11 years or whatever with the belt, that's never going to be broken. And honestly, some of the matches are a little hard to go back and watch. But like we said, appreciate it. And God, you talk about Mount Rushmores and all your cliches. Bruno's always got to be in the conversation.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the more research I did on the guy, I even recently watched the Andre the Giant HBO special. Mm. And he wasn't directly mentioned, but you could definitely tell when Andre got to the sort of northeastern territory that area of the United States when it came to wrestling. They had their, I don't want to say they were gimmicks, but they had their kayfabe persona of kind of the community they were representing. And Bruno Sammartino was, I feel, the hardcore Italian-based wrestler. Just like there was the Baron dude who was representing the German community, and it went on from there. I didn't just watch the two matches that I kind of wanted us to talk about. I ended up watching quite a few of Sammartino's matches, and it turned out that these two that we're gonna talk about for the cast here were actually very interesting in what they did. And Travis, you're absolutely right. They don't, by today's standards, you might say they're boring and almost jobber-like, or young boy-like in New Japan, you might say. But it was a different time. You got to look at it from a different set of glasses, you might say. Would you guys disagree with that?
Oh, I totally agree. I think wrestling back then was more about, I guess, showcasing the power that the character had at the time, and it was more like, oh, I'm the big guy brawler. I'm gonna beat you up and win for the people, you know. And I just think they kind of rolled with that regarding Bruno Sammartino.
Thing that Vincent McMahon Sr., amongst all the promoters, probably did it the most. He relied on ethnic angles to
That's the word I wanted to say. Yeah.
And you talk about guys that go under the radar. Like, you talk about how Bruno And, you know, he had the heat with Vince from the lawsuits, and they had heat for years. That's documented. But in their documentaries, the WWF propaganda they released, like, they would throw in, like, little segments about Bruno, but never in detail till after he, like, you know, made amends or whatever. Pedro Morales gets talked about even less, and he's just as strong as a hero to an ethnic people at the time in the same promotion. He was WWF Worldwide Wrestling Federation champion too for the Latino community, was a big hero, but way less than Bruno. And nobody's ever really known why, but so that it's just relying on. I mean, Bill Watts did it too with, you know, African American guys, but nothing like Vince McMahon Sr. But plus, you had guys like Ivan Koloff all over the world. I don't think any other promotion was A, babyface based, and B, just worldly feeling at the time than that promotion, the Capital Wrestling or whatnot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So this is going to be a recurring segment with the cast. I'm looking forward to where Travis, you can get on. You're more than welcome to come on to future casts for sure. With especially since you're a retro wrestling fan, as myself, and Rad as well, since we're both hardcore fans of the old WCW product. That's one thing that we spoke about in the first episode. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick a retro wrestler. Probably pick a couple matches. Really make that WWE Network subscription worth it. And just highlight an old wrestler and a couple matches that they were in. So obviously what we're going to do is talk about a couple matches Bruno Sammartino was in. And one match that we're going to talk about, if you're watching live on Twitch and YouTube and Mixer, is in the agenda in front of me, is Bruno Sammartino versus superstar Billy Graham for the WWF Championship in 1977. Travis, you're absolutely right with the babyface kind of ethnic gimmick going on, and Bruno Sammartino was apparently known for never leaving kayfabe. When he was, as soon as he would, it was match night, you might say, he never left. They would interview him. He would never leave it. I was reading old news articles that whenever they tried to get some information out of him, he just wouldn't break character. And that's definitely, I feel, a lost art in today. Maybe Kevin Owens, he's one of the few people that come to mind that he doesn't do that, at least in the mainstream WWE sense. This match really stood out to me with the fact that superstar Billy Graham was the champion at the time. This is after Sammartino's crazy title run. So he already had a lot of heat. And I love the fact that Graham began, like, before Sammartino came out, he cut a atypical superstar Billy Graham kind of promo. I got the big arms. This is what a champion looks like. And as soon as Sammartino, like, first emerged from the crowd just goes insane. Just nuts. Just kind of a lost art in which how it reminded. The closest thing I could think of when I was looking at the fan reaction was like the Yes movement with Daniel Bryan. Just how into the crowd the people are behind one particular guy. Any thoughts, guys?
Travis?
This is a case at the time where you would literally see, at least I ever remember seeing, where the crowd started to feel more 50-50, because I feel like superstar Billy Graham was a cool heel, and that definitely showed. They never pulled the trigger on his babyface run, obviously, but I think they could have. This changed everything. This right here was the harbinger for what Hulkamania would become: glitz, glamour, pizzazz, all that bullshit that goes along with the 80s in wrestling. Right? This is what changed the game. Most important moments in wrestling history. Just this match alone, this changing of the guard. Passing of the guard. That's hilarious. Changing of the guard or whatever it was. Yeah, I mean, what more can you say? The match, it's exactly what you think it would be. It's nothing awesome, but to quote Billy Graham, I'm eating T-bone steaks, lifting barbell plates. I'm getting sweeter daddy like a German chocolate cake. Man, the guy was just amazing.
Yeah, he had it.
And cliches in wrestling, right? When you describe legends, but he really was, when you hear ahead of their time. That's one of those guys that immediately come to my mind for what he did at the time.
Oh, it was great. And just for the audience's sake here, a little bit about the match. This one in particular, this is way different than what we're going to talk about the next match. This one was all about who's the stronger guy, who's going to get one over on him. The match was real slow with a lot of just wrestling holds, but they looked painful. There was a lot of facial expressions being used throughout the match. Billy Graham always hiding in the ropes, running away, and every time Bruno would reverse something or get him in a hold or catch up to him or just flip a script and kind of do some heel moves because he was getting so annoyed with Graham. The crowd, Travis, this is when Graham was in the ropes for the third time, I believe, and Sammartino hit him in the face. That's the first time I saw a crowd kind of do a split 50-50 because it felt like Bruno was doing a heel move, and the crowd just started going more and more insane. No matter what would happen, it was a good, well-told story, but the crowd had so much to do with it. And it as the match went on, it slowly became more of a fight than the wrestling match. Like, you could see a progression of moves slowly becoming punches and kicks until finally the ref had enough and it became a double DQ, extending the rivalry. And that's when you see the crowd just start throwing cups and beer. And I got to play defense with the cat going in front of my camera and screen here, and the crowd went insane. I couldn't believe it. I really appreciated what they were doing in the ring, even from a fan of today. So continue from there. Over any thoughts from that?
Well, I guess I'm just going to go ahead and add that that's definitely a lost art. And I guess when you have two guys going at it, you're not going to cheer or boo for what the company's telling you to cheer or boo for. Instead, you get to choose. And in a match like that, the crowd evenly splits in half and, pretty much chooses who they want to win.
So,
where I feel like superstar Billy Graham needed Bruno just as... I don't feel like anybody but Bruno would have got that hump as established. He needed it. It wouldn't have had the same feel if it was a Pedro Morales or any other kind of babyface that had that belt. Chief J Strongbow. No, it had to be Bruno. Just like you say, you compare it to Stone Cold needed The Rock and The Rock needed Stone. It kind of felt like that. They both needed each other in this moment.
Chemistry.
And just the timing of the moon and the stars and all that crap kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that's a very good comparison. I quite like that. And speaking of rivalries that kind of built off each other, the second match was Bruno Sammartino versus Larry Zbyszko in what's known as the Technical Exhibition of 1980. Apparently, very famous. Rad, you were familiar with this match before I even mentioned it, were you not?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's one that I have yet to revisit in a very long time. But I was a huge WCW fan in the 90s, and I remember in Larry Zbyszko's rivalry with the NWO, Eric Bischoff used to mock him a lot by saying, "So what if you beat Bruno Sammartino?" So that was probably
I vaguely remember that as well.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Zbyszko, a commentary, would call Kevin Nash Harry and the Hendersons?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that stuff. It was hilarious, man. He really got the best of these guys. But either way, I mean, they always countered. And I remember Eric Bischoff doing one of those paid announcements. And again, he would mention it. So it was already embedded in my brain. And I was very familiar with that match. And I always knew that Larry Zbyszko defeated Bruno Sammartino. But it's one that I definitely need to revisit. I've heard, good things about this one. I know it's a lot more technical than most of his matches. I don't know, maybe if Zbyszko helped in that aspect. But I don't know. Have any of you guys seen this match recently?
Oh yeah, specifically for the podcast. It's the whole point to this.
Excellent.
I loved the commentary actually before the match started. They actually had a good. It felt like what would be a promo package today, like pre-match. The commentators were really hyping up how Zbyszko trained under Sammartino, or Sammartino took Zbyszko under his wing. Zbyszko thought he was the better wrestler, and he wanted to prove it to the teacher. Then there was the other commentator going, I believe there was a second commentator. I might be mistaken, but he also mentioned how Bruno was sick of his cocky student trying to one-up him. Wanted to really just... Go on.
Vincent Patterson on commentary?
I don't remember. They didn't really say each other's names. They were so concentrated on the match and what was happening in front of them.
About how Zabisco, when he was a fan of Bruno as a teen, and he would hide in the bushes of Bruno's house, and that's like, they built that up and stuff.
I don't remember that, but that sounds like something they were saying.
I think that was a shoot too. They worked into that angle. Like, I think that really happened, and I think that's how he got broken into business.
Oh, that's awesome! I had no idea.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
This is a match. I think it holds up much better than the previous match we spoke about. This one, this one felt like how many matches begin to this day. Kind of skipping ahead to how we saw, let's say, Styles and Nakamura start off the match with some holds, feeling each other out, or how a Kevin Owens Sami Zayn match. Like, this was how, I think this set the bar to how matches start to this day in modern day wrestling.
This is like the first ever student versus teacher like angle I can ever remember too, and it felt like one of the first ever coming of age storylines for a guy with Zabisco. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, this was great. It was, there was a moment, and this is what like totally sold it for me, and why I think this match holds up is you had a slew of technical moves. Bruno kind of does like a pat on the back at one point as he reversed his Zabisco move and as he's getting up, Zabisco spits in his face. Oh, and then you see you vaguely see a facial expression, the best the camera can do at the time, of Sammartino just has this huge scowl, and before he can even like he takes like a subtle motion forward, and Zabisco rolls out of the ring and then kind of flips his hair and looks at the crowd. The crowd goes boos, and Sammartino, you can tell, at least in kayfabe, was fuming. And once that moment hit, Zabisco continued that fashion of kind of irritating Bruno all the way up until a point where Zabisco was relying on punches as opposed to moves, kind of in the same sense as the Sammartino Graham match. It was technical holds that evolved into punches and kicks up until the point where Bruno was about to do his Hulkamania pump up. I believe he was the one that started it. That's what it looks like. He's the oldest wrestler I can think of that would do something like that. And right before he did that, Zabisco punches him in the face and then rolls out of the ring, and then that was the end. Bruno just lost his goddamn mind, and the ref DQs him, and that's how Zabisco wins.
So that's the famous win. Wow, yeah. I didn't know it went down like that.
Oh yeah, it was fantastic. It was such good heel storytelling to annoy a babyface.
Sure.
Reminds us of a certain angle that's happening right now. the whole Shinsuke and AJ Styles thing.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
It's at Shea Stadium, right?
Yes, I believe that's where it was.
I just watched the Andre and Hogan match from Shea Stadium too, and then I watched this show, so I started binging on old Shea Stadium matches.
Oh, nice!
Like that building had a lot of classic matches in it. And you talk about the camera angle. This the only thing I wish this Zabisco and Sammartino match, it happened right before the cusp of like when World Class came along and started that hard cam stuff where you got in the action. I wish this match would have had more like hand cams. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, so to get closer would have been amazing.
Oh, this would have put it over the top. I can't say I give it like a 5-star match because I wasn't there in 1980. But it definitely holds up to this day. I really enjoyed this. I was locked in the entire time, especially with the backstory too. It was great. Well, we
match happened the same year that Empire Strikes Back came out. That's how old this match.
Crazy old.
It was good. So I really enjoyed this kind of blast of the past kind of moment, using the network to do something like this. I would like this to be a recurring segment for the podcast.
Yeah, just like you mentioned, I think it puts good value in our network subscription, so I'm down.
All right. Travis, you're more than welcome to join in on it.
Been doing great with adding old stuff like Thunder Saturday Night, tons of stuff, man. All this old Capital Wrestling stuff from like the 70s they've added. It's all the Coliseum video stuff. So you're definitely getting your money's worth, I feel like, lately.
All right. Well, we got a stacked card, you might say, of what's ahead of us. We got a lot of indie stuff to talk about. And the way I'm gonna start doing this is I have a pop to play. You guys, unfortunately, won't be able to hear it, but the audience will. All right, so we're beginning with these first couple indie things that we're going to talk about took place over WrestleMania weekend. Whether it was they finally came out on their network or founded by other means. First up is Evolve 102 and 103. I'm going to be honest, I've never seen an Evolve event before until now. And just some quick little showcases. Will Ospreay wins in a kayfabe neck injury match against AR Fox. This is a two high flyer showcase, kind of worth checking out. It's not really breaking grounds, but what made it different was saw a different side of Will Ospreay because he's coming off that crazy match with Marty Scurll in which he almost died. And you could tell he was in obvious pain and overselling this neck injury quite well against this AR Fox, who I wasn't familiar with until this match. Are any of you guys familiar with AR Fox?
No, not even by name.
Yeah, Travis.
I think he came up with Scorpio Sky. I think he came up along with Scorpio Sky in like the 2000s in the SoCal area. One of those guys.
Well, that would make sense. I would believe that. Then. Later that night, this is continuing on from 102, I have a confession. I liked a Matt Riddle match.
Nice.
Yeah. For those listeners out there, I'm not a Matt Riddle guy. I don't. I've never really bought into the guy's character or who he is. This was for the Evolve title, in which the champion was Zack Sabre Jr., and it turned out to be an extremely good technical match.
I heard that was a good one.
Yeah, naturally with Zack Sabre Jr., you're going to get a hyper technical match, and this showcased. I think these two have great chemistry together. It really worked between the two. Matt Riddle ends up winning. A very hard hitting affair as well, because Matt Riddle's got his little UFC MMA background or what have you. Sabre doing a lot of reverses and wiggling in and out of things, much more hard hitting than I anticipated. Matt Riddle wins because Zack Sabre Jr. I guess is going full time New Japan now. That's kind of the where he's going with a lot of his indie thing. He lost a lot of matches over the last few weeks. Riddle then declares all future matches will be no rope break. And this led into a defense the very next night against a Japanese wrestler by the name of Sakamoto. Real hard-hitting dude. Very much the same affair. And Riddle wasn't done over the weekend. He had his own, Matt Riddle's Bloodsport event in which he had an offshoot against Minoru Suzuki, where the ring didn't even have ropes at all. And Suzuki won this match, surprisingly enough. Because I thought at Matt Riddle's Bloodsport, it would be to get himself over. There's a moment in there where Minoru Suzuki does this hard-hitting chop return or slap in the face. And usually when he gets slapped in return, he does a little laugh, haha, goats him on. Well, Riddle hits him once. Suzuki didn't do that. And then he just straight knees him. So that just shows to me how hard Matt Riddle actually does hit. Okay, so I like this Matt Riddle guy, what he can be capable of. Travis, how familiar are you with Matt Riddle and what you've seen from him?
I think he's got a ton of potential. I think he's got $1 million look. Obviously, the resume speaks for itself. But I totally agree with you. Every time you criticize him, it's to say he needs to get more serious. You know what I mean? And I get the King of Bros gimmick. I get it. But I mean psychology and ring wise. Just you talk about his quote laziness sometimes, his lack of psychology. I'm right there with you. That's my only agree. But at the same time, he's a little greenish still. Well, not totally, but he hasn't. You know what I mean? He needs to be more seasoned, I feel like.
Yeah, he's got a ways to go, but this is a good start. If I see more of what I saw over WrestleMania weekend from Matt Riddle, then he's filled with potential. I have a little note here. If he wasn't such a pothead, he would be even better, I think.
So I guess maybe it's safe to say that it's who they pit him with, I guess, is what makes him look good. So if he's pitted against the right opponents, I think he'll definitely look really good in the ring.
Yeah, these three guys in particular.
Minoru Suzuki might be the toughest man in the entire world. So to go from like a match with him to Zack Sabre Jr., he's getting well-rounded experience. So that's always a good thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, it's just every time I see him in other indie events, he has a bad habit of no selling, or at least it appears to be. I don't know whether that's his character booking, or what have you. I'm not a heavy industry guy. I don't have the inside, you might say, but that's just what I've seen.
If we're gonna critique guys on no selling, I'm gonna go get like a thick ass phone book sized list ready. I mean, come on, everybody does that anymore.
I know, but in Matt Riddle matches in particular, it's almost like his whole character's built on no selling, which I'm not a fan of. So,
I think it's just a character. It's just like, oh well, nothing phases him. It's all good, bro. That kind of thing.
Yeah. I do like his funky little names for everything, like the King of Bros, the bro to sleep. What is it? The bro arm bar or something? The Brome bar? I don't remember.
It's not as bad as the besties in the world, but we'll get there.
So, moving on with Evolve, there was a champion versus champion match. The FIP champ, Austin Theory, who, again, another guy I'm not really familiar with until this weekend, against WWN champ, Keith Lee, who I am familiar with. Bask in his glory, of course. Very solid match. Keith Lee actually lost to a straight low blow into a TKO. So I guess we know who the heel is. It's Austin Theory. Very solid build. He looks a bit generic. Maybe if he develops a little bit more character, but this was a good showing from him. He's now a double champ, and Keith Lee was busy over that weekend doing a lot of WrestleMania Access type stuff. So that was interesting to see a champion versus champion now. A double champion in Evolve, or at least in among these indie scenes. Are you guys familiar with Austin Theory?
No, I can't say that I am.
Okay,
not a lot, but I'm not a lot, but I'm definitely familiar with Keith Lee. And I know he had some other big things recently go down. Another big match, but that's a different promotion. But yeah, Keith Lee's money. He's great.
Oh yeah, bask in his glory. I love his sit out power bomb called the Spirit Bomb. Dragon Ball Z reference, in which the guy pops off the mat once he hits. It's pretty wild to see. One just side note is a Japanese wrestler by the name of Nori Sawa came out of retirement. He came from a Japanese promotion that's long gone now. I believe it's 4 or 5 years closed down, and he felt that there wasn't any sort of promotion that would accept him and his style. He's a stiff striker with shoot-style submission holds. He put on a couple great showings. I hope to see more of him. He's 38 years old, so he doesn't... I mean, he's younger than AJ Styles.
Yeah.
So, but that was Evolve. It was interesting. I don't think I'm gonna watch too much more of it because a lot of the wrestlers in there just are super green or wasn't into. But those were just some of the guys and matches that stood out to me. I would definitely say go check out that Matt Riddle Zack Sabre Jr. match for the Evolve title at Evolve 102.
Yeah, that one sounds like a solid performance.
Yeah. So now we're on to Progress Chapter 66 and 67. This I was looking forward to because it seemed like they were getting a lot of talents together for this event, and man, it turned out to be kind of a mess, honestly. I got bored while watching it. It was just a clusterfuck, to be honest. It was a lot of first-time debuts. They were made unremarkable. A lot of the matches were just average spot festy type things or comedy-focused matches. At one point, there was a women's match with Kaylee Ray, and I was like, oh, awesome, I like her. She came out with a voodoo doll and did some stuff. I'm like, oh my god. But there was some highlights. Ospreay and Haskins, another Ospreay match, go figure. Super high energy spot fest. Second best match of the weekend for Progress. This one was very fun to watch. Ospreay coming off the previous day at Evolve in a hard match against AR Fox, now has to take on a very hyped Mark Haskins, and Haskins pretty much had the match in his favor until a couple Ospreay moves and proved to be the better guy. Just kind of barely got one up on the guy. It was pretty cool. So Mark Haskins is rising on my radar of wrestlers to pay attention to. Travis, Rad, more familiar with Mark Haskins these days, or nah, not really?
No, not really. I'm familiar with the name. I just haven't really, sat through an entire match.
Oh, I'm so behind on Progress, and as from like an outsider looking in that hasn't watched that promotion in a while, I feel like they're kind of going through a restocking phase right now.
Oh, they have to, because it's all part of that WWE UK tournament trying to stop the rising indie scene in the United Kingdom. They took a lot of their talent.
Exactly. Like it used to be.
Yeah. There's an aging Jimmy Havoc. Haskins is definitely the future of that promotion, barring getting bought up or opportunities somewhere else that arise that'll pay more or what have you. But Haskins is a guy within that company to look out for. There was a fun little tag match. Just real quick note: Ring Kampf, which is Walter and Timothy Thatcher against David Starr and his mystery opponent Keith Lee. He's back. Guys were busy over the weekend. The only thing to note was Walter pinned Starr yet again, so he moves to like 16-0 against David Starr. Oh yeah. Then Chapter 67, Walter and Zack Sabre Jr. had a match for the number one contendership for the Progress title. So in the last cast, Rad, if you remember, Walter came out, challenged Travis Banks for the title. Well, Zack Sabre Jr. wasn't having that, so They had a number one contender match. That was kind of their little build.
That match just sounds so unfair on paper. Walter versus Zack Sabre. It's like the Hulk versus Harry Potter.
It was. It was hilarious. Because every time Walter would do his signature slap, his chop, it looked like it broke Zack in half.
Oh man!
I couldn't tell if Zack was overselling it or he was literally getting thrown across the ring.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it hurt.
Oh, Zack's chest was destroyed. Not as bad as say Daniel Bryan at the Greatest Royal Rumble, where the blood veins were just exploding or Dragunov's blood.
Oh, that looked bad. I still can't figure out where that came from, but I guess we'll get into that when we move over to that pay-per-view.
Yeah, but Walter did a fantastic job selling all of Zack's holds. When Zack was working on his left arm, when he was working on his right arm, he couldn't do a chop with it without it hurting him. So you saw Walter switch to his left arm. It wasn't as effective. So Sabre was able to get to the legs. A lot of that, very much worth watching. This was my Progress match of the weekend there. But yeah, as you said, Travis, it like doesn't seem fair, but both wrestlers are so good at what they do, especially Walter. I'm getting so much respect for the guy. The more and more I watch him, even across different promotions, it's fantastic. Travis, I really wish you'd be more familiar, or at least watched a lot of them. I'm not sure how much you've watched Walter.
I played catch up so much in the past couple weeks. Just the more I'm like watching his old stuff, and I feel like X-Men movie, and they need a Colossus who's aged a little bit. Perfect guy. Right there.
Yeah, right on.
The last note of Progress Wrestling was I was very disappointed in not Travis Banks, but just the matches he was involved with who he was facing. Just newcomer guys going for his title. I couldn't buy him losing. The matches were just underwhelming. But Austin Theory did make a couple appearances for Progress events. So again, he's worth paying attention to. Austin Theory definitely impressed. Travis Banks was underwhelming, which I was actually surprised because I'm a big Travis Banks fan.
Yeah, most Travises aren't underwhelming, so I'm surprised too.
Yeah, it was definitely the opponents he was against, I feel, because Travis was definitely going his usual shtick. Unfortunately, I have to kind of compare it to kind of a Jeff Hardy Jinder match where Jeff Hardy's trying so hard, but sometimes you just can't get a 5-star match out of a 2-star guy.
Which is crazy because like the week before Jinder, I felt like had a good but short match to Chad Gable, and I felt like Jinder held his own. And I don't know.
Sometimes you have off nights, I guess. Well, moving on from Progress, I can't recommend even seeing both those events in full. Just I would say watch the hilarious yet really good Walter Zack Sabre Jr. match and the Ospreay Haskins. So moving on to WXW, my promotion. Haha. Something you guys were definitely involved with in some form or another.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Newly familiar with it now.
Yeah,
I must say I like it.
Yeah, great. I'm so happy. Travis, you unfortunately while we were all watching together, your internet just kind of blew out on you. It exploded.
Right when Logan hopped on the stream party too, I blame Logan.
Yeah, he took your place and ended up watching the rest of the event.
Yeah, he took up the bandwidth.
The two goddamn matches I saw, I really enjoyed. So there you go. And I went back and saw the highlights. You know what I mean? It looked like it was a kick-ass show for the rest of us.
Oh, it's definitely one of my more favorite pay-per-views of the year that I've seen so far is True Colors. I kind of liked it more than their 16 karat gold event. I thought this was just more solid from bottom to top. But the first match was True Colors took place on April 14th. It's their first major pay-per-view after their WXW sort of WrestleMania. For those that aren't familiar with WXW, it is a German indie promotion, the top one in Central Europe, you might say. And it started off with a quick and heavy triple threat tornado tag match between Monster Consulting, LAX from Impact, and JFK. Yeah, LAX was definitely Travis, what was the name you gave him? Yeah, the Puerto Rican Young Bucks.
Oh, that's right.
This was a really fun match. So instead of me blabbering on, I've been talking for a while. Rad, you watched the whole event. Why don't you and Travis take this away?
Yeah, sure. Starting with the tornado tag match?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I must say there was just a lot of moves that were being pulled off from all tag teams involved. The fact that it was a tornado tag match, I think, just made it that much better. Phenomenal performance. It was a great opener to the show, and it definitely, I think, had us on our feet looking forward to more in the show, and it wasn't even the best match of the night, so that just says a lot about WXW.
Perfect stage setter and a joke about the Puerto Rican Young Bucks thing. And I will say this about the Young Bucks too. They've gotten better. You know what it is with the Young Bucks and guys like that? I feel like they intentionally worked that way. They got themselves noticed. They got themselves merch and Hot Topic. Now they're showing us they know how to use psychology all along. It was to get fucking attention. Mm-hmm. It's smart business. But anyway, not as over the top as the Young Bucks used to be, but it was just the colors they were wearing on their trunks at the time, and just, you know what I'm saying. But anyway, yeah, I totally agree with you, Rad. Perfect way to get everyone pumped up and just the blood flowing through the crowd. I've never seen Avalanche before, so now forget Otis Dozovich. I'm all about Team Avalanche, and just, yeah, I feel like you need to see more of that tornado multi-team stipulation. I feel like it's surprising we don't see that more, actually.
Yeah, I think the only time we get something close to it is maybe in WWE mainstream is probably Money in the Bank, and even then every man is for himself, but not necessarily teams. And I think when you have teams involved, it's a pretty interesting aspect to the match itself.
Yeah, what stood out to me the most in this match wasn't just LAX. It was the amazing teamwork that I saw, and back and forth. Like no team looked weak. No team.
Yeah, absolutely.
No team looked totally overpowerful.
Every team got to do like their own like a double team, signature, so to speak. So that was pretty entertaining.
Just say it, they got the shit in, brother.
Yeah, it was a great. It was a great way to start the event. Then there was a women's match between the Kill Bill character Audrey Bride against my girl Killer Kelly.
Killer Kelly, man, that was an awesome match.
She's actually a rookie. She's less than 2 years wrestling.
Because she looks like she has, if not more, just as much ring time as Shayna Baszler, from what I saw in this.
Yep.
Yeah, I think she looks a lot better than Shayna Baszler. Honestly.
Me right now, those two.
So what did you guys think of this women's match?
I loved it. I thought it was really good. The two women worked really well together. I am familiar with Killer Kelly's stuff, but this was the first time I actually saw the Kill Bill character. What's her name again, JD?
Audrey Bride.
Audrey Bride. Yeah, this was the first time I saw her, and I liked her as well. She was a heck of a performer, and this match was really cool.
Yeah, it was just a side note. It was actually later confirmed on WXW's weekly show Shotgun that she's pretty much going to be a regular part of the roster now.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I believe she was from Hungary.
Agreed.
So, yeah. Yeah, good. It was a solid match. Travis, you mentioned during the match that even though maybe Audrey wasn't impressive in the ring, she was doing all the heel stuff right.
It's always refreshing where like you first see a woman's wrestler, and yes, they're very attractive, but you see that they're not just eye candy. She was a very tough girl too. She took some damn stiff shots and hung in there, and she surprised me actually. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna look and pay attention more to what Audrey Bride has to offer. I'm always excited for new blood, especially in this rising women's division that is in Central Europe, and throughout Europe in general. Not just in WXW, but also in all the UK promotions, because they all help each other out in the indie promotions over there in Europe. So
the women's wrestlers over there, they got to do something, because Toni Storm is like the only buzz in women's wrestling over there, besides like a Kaylee Ray and like a Piper Niven. I feel like it's all about Toni Storm right now, and as should be, because she's tremendous.
Sure.
Well, Travis, you missed the last cast, but right now, specifically in WXW, they actually have a pretty sweet little idea going, a little story going, where it all started with a backstage segment between Toni Storm and Killer Kelly after Toni reclaimed the title and defended it, where Killer Kelly got real humble, and she's like, yeah, maybe I had the title too early. You proved how good you were. I'm clearly under your level. Me and the other women were talking, and we got to prove to meet your level. So it's basically just them having matches and accumulating wins to even deserve to fight Toni Storm, which I really appreciate.
There you go. I booked it mentally and didn't even know it.
Yeah. No, it's a really cool idea.
It's kind of like a tournament, so to speak, and that person will earn their spot, I guess, to face the boss if you're playing a fighting game. So it definitely works well.
Towers, classic Towers.
There you go, Towers, man, Mortal Kombat style.
You guys probably agree because you're a fan of WCW like me. I miss point systems. Every match means something then. A number 8, a number 9 ranked. Brad Armstrong had a goddamn purpose in NWA then. That gave me a reason to care about a Brad Armstrong match. I miss that.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, the Bound for Glory series in TNA comes to mind immediately.
Oh yeah, that was some good stuff too.
Yeah. So just going through a couple quick things. There was a number 1 contender match for the mid card title. Bobby Guns got injured, so they kind of improvised a fatal 4-way number 1 contender. It was Big Mark Davis of Aussie Open tag. This guy's massive, big Australian guy. He wrecked everyone's house, made himself known, got himself over. Bobby Guns comes out, cuts an immediate promo, kicks him in the face, and then kind of heads high. Everyone loves Bobby Guns. He's super over. Even when he kicked this big Australian in the face, the German crowd went nuts. Later that week, Mark Davis had an impromptu match and then attacked Bobby Guns backstage, setting up WXW in Frankfurt. They had their own. They did fight each other. Very good match. Mark Davis just really impressed me the last couple weeks. Bobby Guns still very solid, but you can tell he was kind of favoring a shoulder injury, unfortunately. But he still won. Bobby Guns is still the champ. Later on, then, in that same night at True Colors, it was more or less a match with Damac against... who did he face? He faced some random dude, I can't remember. I'd never seen him before. Damac wins, and that led to the for those unfamiliar, Damac is the, I guess, pseudo-leader, or trying to be the leader of the heel faction, Rise, in WXW. Pete Bouncer previously had cut a promo saying that, he wants to be the new leader, and he expects an answer at True Colors. So, post-match, Pete Bouncer comes out, all members of Rise are in the ring, and Damac kind of points at him to kind of say, sick 'em boys, but they all turned on him. They're like, no, Pete Bouncer. It was pretty cool. Good stuff.
Yeah, I'm I guess we both agreed on that, JD, that this match wasn't really more about the performance, but rather the storyline behind it. And I'm a huge fan of factions, and this immediately bled, NWO Bullet Club stuff, and, the mutiny was going on. These guys turned on this guy, then accepted, Pete Bouncer as becoming the new leader of Rise. So I just thought it was really cool. I immediately bought into it, and I even marked out for a faction I wasn't even familiar with. So it just goes to show you those good stuff.
Yeah, and Travis, you like Damac. He's got the crazy Phantom of the Opera mask going on.
With an Inspector Gadget magnifying glass.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
the CWC too. He was pretty good.
Yeah. Rise has to rise to the occasion, because without their main dude, Bad Bones John Klinger, there's definitely some star power lacking there. Pete Bouncer is clearly going to get a big push in WXW, and he's real tall. He's built well. He's got the look. It looks like him and Damac are going to have quite a rivalry going forward. I look forward to it. Yeah,
it looks like this was just the beginning to that rivalry. So
yeah, I haven't watched the most recent WXW Shotgun showing. They might have done something there. I'm not sure, but nothing happened at their wrestling tour in Frankfurt. So they're clearly building up something.
Sure.
So now to the last two matches, and then we'll speed it up from here, because there's not much major to talk about from here on out. Absolute Andy, the Dick extraordinaire, the veteran Dick, you might say, faced ex-friend Marius Al-Ani in a TLC match for the World Heavyweight title shot that Andy won at 16 Karat Gold, being the winner of 16 Karat Gold. What a wild and up and down match this was, guys.
It was amazing.
Even during the match, I was saying, Rad, that Marius Al-Ani always seems to go out 150% at the start of the match and then loses steam. Clearly working with Absolute Andy. Absolute Andy knows how to work and pace a match, because Al-Ani never seemed to lose that steam that I see him do so often.
Sure.
What were some of your favorite spots in this match, Rad?
Oh, I guess when who was it? Annie, when he had his hands tied around his back, and he was trying to jump up the ladder and grab the what was it? The contract with his teeth and whatnot.
Yeah,
that was some good stuff. I wasn't expecting that, and that's definitely hard to do. So that was quite impressive.
And on those types of ladders that they have in Germany too, those things are scary looking.
Oh yeah, they don't even have that support beam. It's like flimsy rubber or something. So yeah, I don't think that was gonna work and support the weight of the other guy. So it's just nuts.
Travis, you missed this. Yeah, he had his hands duct tape, and he kind of skipped up the ladder, and this thing was just so shaky. You were so afraid for the guy. You're like, don't take another step. If you fall, your neck is gonna break.
It's like no support from his arms either.
The spot of the night, in my opinion, was definitely Absolute Andy F5ing Alani outside the ring through a table.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Just chucked him out like yesterday's lunch meat. Like, oh my god.
Finish.
And that was the finish to the match too. As soon as he did that, Andy just climbed to the top, and got the contract. And he's like, haha, I'm the veteran, I'm the best. Heel. Middle fingers all around.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a WWE event where the guy slowly takes forever to climb up the ladder, and then naturally the guy gets up from the table and he's totally fine.
Yeah, it's so cliche these days in WWE.
Yeah. So it's something definitely you would have appreciated, Travis, if you would have seen it. You did see the highlight though, right?
Was the finish. It's been a minute since I've seen the highlights, but yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. At least he didn't kick out.
So the main event, which I really liked, my favorite match of the night, Ilya Dragunov defends the title against the many chops from Walter. Rad, I need your thoughts. You have the honors to describe this entire match.
Oh yeah, okay.
Because I've marked out to Dragunov and Walter enough.
Yeah, I must say I marked out on this one as well. It was an awesome match. You definitely had, that I guess David versus Goliath thing going on. It was definitely Chop City from Walter. This was the first time that I saw Dragunov, in watching a match in its entirety, and it was good stuff, man. And he literally was able to successfully defend his title in this main event. I know there was some controversy at the end where like they DQ'd Walter, and they were like, no, we're going to continue. So then they restarted the match.
Yeah, Dragunov got a mic and he's like, no, we're not ending it here. Yeah. I'm proving myself. I want to fight. Get the hell back in the ring. Like, don't go anywhere. I love that moment. It was I had to translate for you, but it was fine.
And this match was like everywhere. I mean, it even got into the crowd. People had to stand up from their seats to make room. It was good stuff. But yeah. Oh man, I think the highlight of this entire match was the chest of Dragunov. That looked really bad. I mean, probably as close to what you described earlier with Daniel Bryan in the Greatest Royal Rumble, if not worse. But I was just impressed with the match.
It was just a concentrated pectoral of blood vessels busted.
Yeah, I mean, he must have taken, I think we lost counts, but at least over 30 or 40 chops from Walter.
It's just every time he got up and got in his face, like Dragunov's the most kayfabe guy I am seeing right now in wrestling, in the wrestling world today. I think he's even more kayfabe than Minoru Suzuki, because Suzuki, in real life, is this like real nice guy. But as soon as the ring, kind of like an Ultimate Warrior situation, as soon as the camera turns on, they go kayfabe. We know nothing about Dragunov's like real life, because WXW is so good at hiding their real life from the camera.
That's good though. I think it provides mystique and the mystery behind the character. So whatever you see on TV, that's what you get, and that's what a lot of us kids grew up on wrestling back in the day. That's the way it was.
Yeah.
Pro wrestling.
Pro wrestling.
What a thought, right, Travis? Well, we got one more major indie event that happened, and that is Impact's wrestling pay-per-view Redemption. Like one of maybe 2 or 3 that TNA Impact's going to do for the year.
Yeah. And I heard they knocked it out of the park with this one.
Oh, everyone I was so surprised. Everyone on Twitter was going nuts. Everyone liked it. So I'm going to start out with the question first and foremost. Travis, is Impact Wrestling the best weekly wrestling show on TV right now?
No, because NXT exists.
Good answer.
That is not a bad answer. What do you think? What do you think, Rad?
I have to agree with Travis on that. If not for NXT, Okay, if not for NXT, I would have to say Impact is probably the best weekly program, only because us fans are just so tired of what's going on with politics and WWE on both Raw and SmackDown. At least Impact kind of brings you something fresh, something that we haven't seen before. People have to get that dogma, out of their mind that, oh no, TNA sucks. They don't put out anything, well. But now with the new product, you can tell that they're really trying to push, their wrestlers a lot harder and, see what they can offer us. And from the little bit that I've seen, go ahead.
Was in the very first place, they're pushing unknowns to the forefront.
Yes. I mean, that's what put them on the map.
Yeah,
and they had to do that now, and I agree. It has gotten better. I have caught some of Impact. So we're going to talk the least about is the one I saw the full thing of, which is Ring of Honor. But that is another weekly show. The Ring of Honor is not bad. I just feel like they rely on, I don't know, New Japan talent a little too much sometimes, and I don't know.
Yeah, I feel a little bit the same way there, Travis.
Yeah, but Impact's definitely got to be in the conversation with one of the best weekly. Way better than Raw has been.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're recording during Raw right now, and we have no regrets.
We don't care whatsoever.
We're talking about indie wrestling. Okay, so on one spot and main event in particular, because with with Impact doing so many less pay-per-views than ever before, they're 2 or 3 a year. It really makes, my opinion is, it really makes their main event builds for their weekly television program mean more, and they're able to do more and make us more invested. So on April 13th, they had the story building with Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie, and it ended up being this no-holds-barred type match. And I posted a screenshot when this happened a few weeks ago, where Rosemary put Taya Valkyrie through a table from the top rope via pile driver.
I saw that.
It's cool, I guess. It makes me, definitely white-eyed and, double takes my head, but god damn, that's a stupid move to do.
It's very dangerous. I think it did what it was supposed to, and it created that holy shit moment, but yeah, it's definitely dangerous for the talent, and definitely dangerous for both of them, not just Taya.
Like, maybe in a way that's starting to become the new Impact's MO in a way. Like, the fog's starting to lift off the town now it doesn't seem so glamorous. They're doing things like this, like they did with Eddie Edwards and Sami Callihan, these shock things to get people's attention, things that are going to piss off Jim Cornette. They're doing to get people to talk about them, which is smart. But how many times can you do that before it's like, oh, well,
yeah, I mean, we're seeing weird, just stupid risks. Like, I'm seeing, we'll get to New Japan, but I definitely got to bring it up now that we're talking about this pile driver off the top rope through a table, because just saying that just sounds wild. The amount of ring apron moves is getting insane.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. Like, we're even seeing a lot of them in WWE too, getting to that point. And God, any of those.
Just came back with Daniel Bryan. He just came back and he took that apron spot, and that was a nasty one too. It's not like he soft padded it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the edge of the ring with that wood, and all it takes is like one guy just kind of missing it, pushing it in all the way, or just so many things can go wrong. Your leg hits the rope. Yeah. Oh, it's disgusting. Yeah.
Devil's advocate on that. It looks fucking great on camera. It looks tremendous, but the consequences that come with that health-wise over time, like you said, you got to be careful.
Yeah, I think it's something that they should maybe save for a huge event to create that, moment that'll be remembered. But of course, it's got to be heavily prepared for, choreographed before going in. I mean, maybe some type of practice, but not just on the spot. It's definitely dangerous for the talent.
Yeah. Well, speaking of talent, on to Redemption. There was a good match between Petey Williams and Matt Sydal for the X Division title. Very solid. Matt Sydal retains. But there's 2 matches in particular that are worth talking about. And that is LAX defending their tag titles versus Eli Drake and Scott Steiner in 2018.
Badasses!
And before we mention anything else, I have a Scott Steiner promo.
But I'm a genetic freak, and I'm not normal. So you got a 25% at best at beating me.
And for you guys, that was just a clip from Scott Steiner's infamous math promo.
I figured that would be it.
Yeah, so, yes, Scott Steiner did cut promos on TV previously. He cut one earlier in the night. There was like a little funky thing with P.D. Williams doing, I have a 50% chance of winning this, while so does Seidel. He also has a 50% chance, and then Steiner kind of comes in from the back and he goes, oh, you're doing math? I know something about math, and he walks away. So we're very kind of self-aware on that. The little bit of story going into this was LAX was talking backstage, and apparently Conan was taken out or something, and it really freaked LAX out, so their head wasn't quite in the game as they were going to the match, and you could tell they were, at least in kayfabe, they were, it was really affecting them, so it kind of made us buy a little bit more of Eli Drake and Steiner. Yes, they are the new tag champions. They won a match. They are the new tag champs in TNA Impact. What a world we live in. 2018, Scott Steiner is tag champion. Thoughts, guys?
Be careful of an Impact. You got to get that old stink off your promotion. You don't want to bring up old wounds like a Scott Steiner too much.
He even performed a real dangerous looking Frankensteiner near the end of the match too.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
I missed that. I need to check that out.
Yeah, Steiner almost landed on his own head and neck.
Man. Yeah, he's a little too old for the Frankensteiner.
Yeah, he was hobbling around the ring. But it made, I will admit, this match definitely made Eli Drake look incredibly strong. There was
something. I think that's what it's all about. It's just pretty much elevating. I mean, yeah, sure, he's already been, world champion, but he still has so much potential and a lot to offer. And I think this was just, I guess, like a way to elevate Eli Drake to newer heights. So Scott Steiner or not, having Eli Drake as the champion and coming out strong in the match, I think is definitely good for his career.
Yeah. What do you think about this move with Drake and Steiner, Travis?
I mean, if you don't see star potential in Eli Drake, you're not opening your eyes. That guy's money.
Yep.
It's just a matter of time before he gets scooped up like a
pure gold.
Oh yeah, it's so ridiculous. I mean, the promos he was cutting with Steiner, like Steiner cut, for example, Steiner cuts a typical Steiner type promo where it kind of doesn't make sense. English is fumbling around. Conan just goes, I don't know what kind of English you were regurgitating out of your whatever fancy word Conan said. I can't remember what word he used, but it was really funny.
And then has to correct you on your English grammar. You know you done fucked up.
Oh yeah,
it was pretty funny. And then Eli Drake moved, kind of went off on that. He's like, we got the big bad booty daddy here, and we got the big bad gravy daddy over right on his side. I was like, oh god, yeah, Eli Drake is money. There was a
so
while,
he saved it, essentially.
Oh yeah. Like, he saved the Steiner promo, runs off him well. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't been totally spoiled on Impact. I hadn't been able to watch it, but I think Drake, took the tag title away from Steiner and fired him from the tag team or something, and he's like, I don't know. So it might not be a permanent thing with Steiner as the tag champ. I'm not totally sure on that.
It'd be the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, not the worst thing in the world, honestly. Steiner doesn't need to hang around too often. There was a House of Hardcore match.
Rip
Tommy
Steiner ear guards on Eli Drake and have him play that up. See if they can do it.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
There was a House of Hardcore match. Yeah, it was a good one-off, I will say. House of Hardcore match with Tommy Dreamer returning to team up with Moose and Eddie Edwards against OVE, Sami Callihan. Basically, it was a hardcore match, as you can imagine. Eddie Edwards shined in being kind of this crazy dude going crazy because this dude's stalking my wife kind of thing, and Sami Callihan being an insane dude that he is. Good, just good little. The rivalry's not over, so there's no. I don't think there's a point in continuing talking about it until it is over. Basically, Eddie Edwards is slowly like losing his mind. Sami Callihan's getting the best of him. Moving on to the triple threat match was Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix in a triple threat match against Austin Aries for the Impact title, and match was pretty good. I think it was a little too fast. It was obviously exhausting for some of the wrestlers, particularly Phoenix. That dude went all out. He was like losing his legs at the end of the match, kind of stumbling around, doing his like rope particular moves. Did you guys see the highlights or watch the match at all?
No, I'm just very well aware of the actual result and what took place, which I'm okay with. But other than that, I didn't really see the match.
Travis?
Because Pentagon, I saw the highlights because Pentagon Jr. is one of my favorite guys right now in the world. He's great. But yeah, it was good. I'm not the biggest Aries fan though, so maybe that's why I didn't go out of my way to.
I really like Aries and his work rate and what he does in the ring. But Pentagon, wow. Like every time I watch this guy, he never ceases to impress me. Is that how you say that, right? He impresses me every time. There we go.
Yeah.
And yeah, he won the match. I can't agree more with not just the balls that Impact has, something WWE clearly doesn't have. We'll get there. But yeah, he's a deserving champion. New blood at the top of the title, top of the card with Impact. There's some spoilers later that Aries won the title back at some point, but Impact's pre-taped, so it could happen, a month or so from now, right before Lucha Underground Season 4 starts. So to me, that makes sense. I'm just excited to see a weekly television show with Pentagon as the Impact champion.
And you know how big of a La Parka mark I am, and he's the closest thing we had to La Parka in 2018, so I'm all about him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, that kind of does it for the indie scene. You guys have any final thoughts over the indie scene from in between now and Mania?
No, I'm good.
Travis?
Go ahead, Rad.
Oh, no, I was just saying I'm good.
I was just saying, just 2 cents on Masters of the Craft show. Was it Ring of Honor?
Oh, we'll get there.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know if that still counts as the indie scene.
No. So, Ring of Honor in New Japan is considered what we call Tier 2.
Cool.
So it's not quite indie and it's not quite WWE.
It's like in between.
Yeah. So, I have my top 10 indie wrestlers over the past few weeks. Number 10 is Absolute Andy from that TLC match. Number 9, Keith Lee, from all the work he's done. Looked solid in all of his matches. Number 8, Aussie Open / Mark Davis, with the Fatal 4-Way win and his match against Bobby Guns. 7, Austin Theory, looking out for that dude. 6, Eddie Edwards, really putting over. He looked strong. He was the strongest guy on next to LAX and Pentagon from Impact with the in-ring storytelling and him going insane, the moves he was pulling off. 5 is LAX from True Colors, and somehow putting up a good match with Scott Steiner in 2018. 4 is Ilya Dragunov, 3 is Pentagon Jr., 2 is Walter, and 1 is I Caved, Matt Riddle.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's interesting coming from you, JD.
Yeah, so I had to do it. I felt he was deserving despite what I think of the guy. So, moving on to Ring of Honor Masters of Craft Tier 2, and I have a drop to play for you guys. Where is it? There it is. Yeah, even though it's a New Japan drop, we are going to be talking about New Japan. So, Masters of Craft. I don't know if you've heard of a little rivalry seem to be going in 2018 between Jay Lethal and Jeremy Grisham, guys. You familiar with this?
Play him now.
You are now?
I'm glad I am.
So, Travis, you watched their second bout of the year, then I take it.
It was great.
Go on.
Yeah, it was tremendous. It seems like another. We talked about it earlier with like the Zabisco and Sammartino thing. It feels like a passing of the torch type thing. What they're going to do in the end or whatever. But either way, it was a tremendous match. They did to the lethal injection into a backslide, which I'd never seen. That stood out to me. Gresham, the octopus character with literal octopus on his knee pads. I love that octopus stretches his finisher. I don't ever remember seeing that since like a goddamn Dory Funk or like a Guerrero back in the day. When's the last time you saw that? It's been a minute.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is, I guess it was what's her face in WWE. She had a sort of octopus stretch. AJ Lee.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Another thing I liked about this was Lethal's little ode to his old gimmick. He kind of had Macho Man colors going on with the
Oh, no way.
The...
That's pretty cool.
He actually well, in the first bout from in January, I believe, he pulled out some of those old Black Machismo moves in the match to beat Gresham. So him wearing it was probably on purpose. He even cut like kind of a Macho Man type promo before the match. He's like, Gresham, we met last time. You took me to the limit. Now show me how much you've improved in our second match, kind of thing. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was always a fan of that character. He did it so well, so that's pretty cool. I need to check that out.
Yeah, this is definitely this was probably the best match I have seen over the past since Mania. Since that time. Like it was that good, Rad. And since Travis watched it and he speaks highly of it, I mean that should be enough right there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
One of the biggest. I've always been one of the biggest Jay Lethal advocates, and it blows my mind why they never have gotten him, or if he just doesn't go. But I feel like he's not getting any younger, but he's not getting any worse either. It seems like every time I see him, he gets more seasoned and better.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and even after the match, you saw an upset Gresham, and Jay Lethal gets the mic, and basically goes, you seem to always bring out the best in me, but you haven't beat me yet. And then Gresham goes, I know I can do it eventually. I want one more. Let's have a third match. We don't know when it's gonna be, but it is, Lethal just goes, yeah, let's do it. So they're gonna have one more. It's now this is a type of rivalry and match built just strictly on what they're doing in the ring, and I absolutely love it. Just simple, effective story of Gresham wanting to beat this guy. It reminds me so much of Rad, what we talked about in the past, the last cast with the Star and Walter series in Europe, but this is like the technical version of it.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. Because Star can't beat Walter. That was the whole deal. They're just slapping the shit out of each other. Walter ends up winning. This is like Gresham and Lethal just going technical for technical move, and just Gresham can't seem to beat Lethal. So I'm wondering if this will pull an opposite, where maybe in this third bout, Gresham will finally get the one up on Lethal. That'll be interesting to see going forward. Travis, what do you think about this? What they're doing here?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what they're going to do. There's no reason not to stretch it out.
Yeah.
There's obviously more of these guys are going to show in the ring. I think the next match might be the best one yet.
Yeah, I mean, this could be the trifecta we see this year, kind of like last year's Bait and Dunn. It's definitely getting there. The difference being last year, Bait and Dunn were fighting for a title every time. So maybe this third match would be for a number one contender spot. Who knows?
This match, this little feud or whatever, it might be going under a lot of people's radar, and people need to go out of their way to check it out. It's worth your time.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like it should.
Well, that was mostly the standout. The only thing I also want to mention from Masters of Craft, Ring of Honor has been real quiet the last few weeks, ever since their Supercard of Honor. There was a Defy or Deny number one contender match. I really like this idea. An elimination style match where it's 3 possible number one contenders and the title holder in the match. If Dalton Castle won, then there would be no number one contender. While if anyone else won, they would then be the number one contender because they technically beat the champ. I quite like this idea of a match. Very fun match, good spots, everybody looks strong, especially Dalton Castle, yet Marty Scurll pulls out another win, and in sneaky fashion, much like the villain character that he is. So we get another Dalton Castle Scurll match going forward. I don't know what you guys think of this move to not have, say, a Punishment Martinez win and have a rematch with Scurll.
Hey, you know what? You shocked the world earlier with your Matt Riddle ¡1. Here comes my shocker of the night. I enjoyed Marty Scurll in this match.
Oh my god,
that is a shocker.
The finish, the transition where he reversed Dalton Castle's finisher into the win, that was great. These guys worked well together, and we didn't work too silly. That's why I appreciated him in this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He worked how he hasn't been in the past to me in this. He got more serious, and it needed to be serious. The #1 contendership was, and shout out to the Beer City Bruiser. My God, that guy.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. Rad, are you familiar with Beer City Bruiser?
A little bit. I've seen some of his stuff, but I'm not familiar with what he had to offer in this, match in particular.
He had to offer a massive body to get in everyone's way, and he did it well.
I like the spot of the match where Dalton. I tweeted out earlier. Dalton Castle comes in to his Beer City Bruiser's manager, and Dalton Castle's like, "Those are my boys, motherfucker."
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Don't mess with him. I did love that one. Yeah, he's gonna.
The whole how Dalton Castle, the story with his fingers being broken, and that spot where like you could hear the pop that Scurll did was great, and the crowd was like, "Oh."
Yeah, it was that. Yeah, I felt like this match was definitely bringing it up because it was a good match. It was. I don't think it was better than their Supercard of Honor match, but it was definitely. I think it definitely flowed better, if that makes any sense.
The crowd seemed a little flat at first too, considering what they'd already sat through, but they were into it by the end of it. I feel like, and they were behind Scurll getting the win.
Yeah. Well, anything after Lethal Gresham will kill the mood. You'll just be like, "Oh my god, I need to change my pants after that match." Yeah, there was a match earlier in that night with Matt Taven and Matt Taven of Kingdom versus Cody Rhodes of Bullet Club or whatever he's representing these days. Nice little
his own little world of Bullet Club, I guess.
Yeah, it's really odd what's going on there. It still
has yet to be official. Yeah.
Weightlifting belt.
Yeah, that was also a good match. Very good storytelling, rivalry going forward. I quite liked what Matt Taven and Rhodes had to offer there. There was a couple other things that went down.
What did you think of the finish of that, JD? That's my question for you.
I quite liked it, yeah, because Cody Rhodes busted open his knuckles, and as he was hitting Taven, the ref, you thought that Taven was being busted open, but it turns out it was Rhodes who ripped his knuckles open. He punched a chair, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
that's
damn.
what did it. Yeah. I liked it. I liked it.
Did he do it for the greater good of pro wrestling, or was that an accident?
No, I think he got in the corner and kind of cut his knuckles open a little bit on purpose. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what happened.
Real first blood match to be against Disco Inferno. Let's be real here.
Totally agree.
Where he hits a ring apron spot on them just to spite him. Yeah.
I enjoyed this match way more than I thought I would, just because Matt Taven was in it. But yeah, it's probably the best I've seen from Matt Taven in a while. I'm not a big Matt Taven fan.
I agree. If Matt Taven does more matches like this, then he's got an even brighter future ahead of him, even more outside the kingdom. I love the persona that they're developing for him, and he's getting stronger and stronger looking each time I see him. This was a great example of his improvement. So shall we move on to New Japan then?
I'm down.
Alrighty. So New Japan, they've been doing their
Let's do it.
Road to Dontaku. I have caught up with days 1 through 5. It's a lot of New Japan. Honestly, New Japan, luckily, they don't do a weekly television show. Otherwise, I would definitely get burned out by their product. Because even trying to do this Road to Dontaku, it was kind of a task. It felt like a task at one point because it's just a slew of tag match after tag match. I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels this way. I get why they do it. I agree why they do it.
G1 feels like that to me after a while too.
Yeah. This definitely, I definitely felt some fatigue after the first 2 days. 3, man, nothing happened at all. Day 4, I got to the point where it's like, why am I even watching most of this? Because I could just watch a lot of the backstage promos cut on YouTube, on New Japan's YouTube page, and then just watch the main event of each day. Say again, Travis?
Robinson cuts backstage and promos instead of watching most of the matches. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, I mean, some of the matches, I'm always up for a couple of events, but watching the whole event, like I honestly, I've been skipping the Young Boy events lately. I just don't care.
Some of my favorite things on YouTube are just those highlight clips of just the promos at these events that are edited out. Those are great. They're hilarious.
Yeah. So
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So just some quick notes. Day 1 had a fun 10-man like battle royal match again, Taguchi versus Chaos. It came down to Finlay throwing out Jay White to extend that feud, like build it up. That went into day 4 where they would eventually fight for the US title against one another. I just want to note, essentially a Roppongi 3K losing streak, or them losing a lot, or at least getting the shit kicked out of them during a match. I'm a really big babyface Roppongi 3K fan, especially with Rocky Romero. I don't know what's going on with them though. They're losing a lot. Do you guys have any thoughts on this?
Isn't he kind of like transitioning to a commentary guy and winding it down? Maybe.
But what about the two? He's becoming a manager of the two, which I'm fine with, but the tag team's solid.
There's a storyline where like he keeps eating the pens, and he'll feel like after time he's weighing the team down, and he steps aside to be like a Gato is Sunokata or something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Day 2 was a fun another 10-man elimination match. This time LIJ against Suzuki Gun. This was pretty cool because it basically came down to Hiromu Takahashi taking on everybody from Suzuki Gun, kind of like a Dolph Ziggler Survivor Series comeback. But eventually he did. Yeah, but eventually he did lose to El Desperado cheating, and then at one point Suzuki just jumps Naito, and they go to the back and fight because Suzuki I guess he wants to kill Naito. It's pretty funny and brutal looking. The junior heavyweights continue to cut promos that they are the best division in New Japan. They're really hyping up that Will Ospreay Kushida bout that's coming down the line. I'm really looking forward to that. I really like the promos being cut between all these guys in the junior heavyweights. I look forward to seeing what the future is installed for this division. Do you guys have any thoughts over what the junior heavyweights are doing?
They always seem to stay ahead of the curve with. They'd either make the weight, they move up, or like get signed somewhere else. They always seem to have punish it fast. You know what I mean?
Right. Rad, yourself?
Yeah, I kind of have to agree with Travis on that. They just, continue to, I guess, replenish what they're doing, and they just go from there.
2 cents. I'm glad they're smart enough to know that Kushida doesn't have the charisma to carry it.
That's probably why it's a revolving door, and they're trying other things with other wrestlers, so to speak.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Even Marty Scurll, I mentioned in the last cast where he threw that promo where he's like, I don't get why there's this stigma that if you're in the junior heavyweight, you have to go up to the heavyweight. Like it's like you're moving up from Division 2, you know? And that I really like what they're doing here. And Ospreay, I think, is the perfect person right now in this moment to carry it. He's got the persona and the babyface to go along with it.
And it's funny you brought that up. I just feel that. Go ahead, Travis.
Saying that he just has the momentum and the buzz right now to put it on a mix-up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think Kenny Omega did the same when he moved from the junior over to world heavyweight. It just seems that I guess they had some sort of like a cookie cutter thing going on with everybody's career, and they just kind of like maintained that, and now they're kind of breaking away from that.
Yeah, setting a new precedent for a division. I quite like it. It's definitely something I wish WWE would do right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We'll get there.
Yeah, I know it's coming.
Oh. Yeah, if you looked at the agenda, I have a specific thing to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so day 4, nothing happened day 5, guys. Nothing happened of note. The point of day 4 was the Jay White versus Finlay Jr. match for the US title, and this was very fun to watch. I liked what I saw. This is the best David Finlay Jr. match I have seen out of the guy. I think this was his breakthrough character match and who he is and how they're going to use him going forward. And Jay White was a bit of a heel in this match. The crowd was very much babyface for Finlay. And Jay White was throwing some shade. He was talking some shit throughout the match. Finlay at points was he hit the switchblade on Jay White. I honestly thought Finlay was the better wrestler here. Yeah, Jay White did win off of reversing a I guess it was reversing a like a lumbar check type move into the switchblade finisher. And then Jay White cut a promo basically saying, "Yeah, Finlay, you belong in this main event scene, but you don't belong in the same ring as me. Get that trash out of here," he said. I don't know what's in store for me in the future. All I know is I'll be waiting on the winner of the Tanahashi Okada match, or whoever comes for the US title first. So Jay White's definitely being pushed hard in New Japan. And Finlay is going to be pushed further, I feel. Good MVP performance from Finlay, I feel. Did you guys see this match by any means? Or see a highlight?
Rad didn't.
Hello? We got some dead air going here.
Yeah, no. Sorry, guys. I'm here. I just had to get some water, as you know, my voice not.
Right. Travis, did you see any highlights at all?
I didn't see this one, but I saw plenty of their other ones when they were young Lions, because these guys came up together and pretty much kind of broke through in a way together.
Yeah, and yeah, Jay White was definitely talking some shit to Finlay like mid-match, saying like, "You're still a young boy. I'm above your level. I'm 2015. You're still there, Finlay." This was mid-match, and of course he had a change of heart when Finlay almost beat him. But it was good. I look forward to see where both these guys go in the future. What Jay White does one thing in particular that really bothers me, and I'm not sure if you guys have noticed this. When there's a big move hit on Jay White, he didn't do it as much during Okada, but I did notice it. He did it a lot in this Finlay match, where he gets a heavy move put on him, the guy pins him, and Jay White looks directly at the ref and watches his hand go up and down until he hits the 3.
Oh, so he's relying, I guess, on visual cues?
That's what it looks like, and it's very obvious. It's just something that really bugs me about Jay White. Have you guys caught this at all? Travis?
I haven't really noticed it, to be honest.
Either, but I trust you.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's something that I would notice, it would definitely bother me, especially if it's recurring.
Yeah. There's one instance where Finlay hits a big move on Jay White, and he just drapes his hand over his chest, and this is when you get a hard cam on Jay White, and it's like clear as day. He's just looking at the ref. You can kind of tell when the camera's you can kind of not tell when the camera's further away, but this was just happened to be right on his face while he's looking at the ref.
Oh, damn. Make it so obvious.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Ambrose does all the time, pretty much.
Yes, Dean Ambrose does that shit, too.
He does. I've noticed that.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah. All right. Any final New Japan thoughts as we move away from Tier 2?
No, let's move forward.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got my top 10.
Japan's they're in that time of year where they don't got a lot going on, kind of.
Yeah, they're heading towards Dontaku, and then they got to build the G1 and Dominion going up. So yeah, it's right around their lull period, which is okay.
The off season, so to speak.
Yeah, the recovery season.
Yeah.
So just moving down quickly, the top 10. 10, I put Hiromu Takahashi for his valiant effort. Cody Rhodes, Marty Scurll. 7, Matt Taven. 6, Jay White, even though he irked me, he did still put on a good performance. Zack Sabre Jr. for all of his indie work. 4, David Finlay Jr., MVP performance on day 4 of Dontaku. 3, Jonathan Gresham, obvious reasons. 2, Will Ospreay, obvious reasons. And number 1, can you guess, Travis?
Jay Lethal.
That's right. Not
Nice.
even close. Not even a question.
I guess we all agree on the list.
Yeah, it was definitely easier to make than my indie list, and definitely easier to make than WWE, because WWE is just a nightmare to make any sort of top 10.
Oh, it's not even worth it these days.
Ugh.
They're not even predictable. Like, no matter what you put, like, it's just going to change the very next week. I think the only one predictable outcome is always Brock Lesnar, and that's not favored by anybody by any means.
Well,
The only thing in WWE that took my top 10 this week was a botch. That was it.
Yeah.
yeah, which one? My
The
God.
show was a botch, by the way.
All right, so rather than busting down everything that's happened in WWE, I actually have topics for each promotion that's happening right here. So
Sounds good.
as I play AJ Styles drop to introduce us into the world of Tier 1 WWE, bear with me. Alright, so they don't want none, well, we gotta talk about it anyways. But let's start with NXT. My idea of a topic, because after this heavy feud, clearly after NXT last week, they're still gonna have the Gargano-Ciampa feud. I think that was more or less obvious to begin with. However, my talking point was, I think they should float Gargano and Ciampa for either the NXT title, the North American, and 205 Live to really spice up what improvement we're seeing on 205 Live. What do you guys think of this topic? Or if you have any other thoughts at all? Rad, why don't you go first?
Yeah, I kind of like that idea. It definitely makes sense, and now I think it's time to elevate to the feud that they're going with now, involving a title, and what better title than the North American title now new to NXT. And I think they're the perfect fit for it as well. So I would definitely like to see that, and we'll see where it goes.
I do want to make it clear, I'm not saying that they should permanently be on 205 Live. I think NXT is their home, but I would like to see them on the show still. That's why I use the word float. Travis, what is your take on the future of Gargano and Ciampa?
I'd like to see it play out, quite frankly, just because it's been done so well, and maybe that's selfish. I'm in no rush to see anyone ever go from NXT, and it's always going to be that way because what we see this continuation of just stagnation when they get on the main roster. So let it play out. Fuck, let it be good while it's good, I guess.
Right. But
Yeah.
let's say as individuals, then, like once this feud is over with, so to say. Travis, what do you think about that?
Summertime, I'd like to see Ciampa transition, and I think he should get the belt off Black.
Okay.
Yeah. Then you go back to Gargano finally for the title.
NXT World title.
Ooh, have a wrestling match against Gargano. Oh, interesting.
That'd be good.
A wrestling match, and you know, shout out to you. I'll throw it to a Bret Hart throwback here. A wrestling match that was like Bret Hart, British Bulldog in your house, December '95. That match was a wrestling match, but it was physical as hell, and it was a bloodbath.
Yeah,
it was great.
Beautiful. That's a great retro reference there. So we're all kind of in agreement. Travis, what do you think about the float idea to 205 Live every now and again? Maybe like nearing the end of the year or in the fall?
Depends. I mean, it's positive as we thought 205 Live was looking before Mania. Now it kind of seems like they're going back to this. I don't know. There's really no buzz still for 205 Live. Is it a good thing? But bringing in a Gargano and a Ciampa would add to that buzz. So take a risk. Why not? You got two of them there. They don't always have to be tied at the hip, so you could separate them on different shows.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah, get a new type rivalry there. I'd love to see. I like this story. Well, speaking of 205 Live, why don't we continue on that? They got this budding storyline with Buddy Murphy. See what I did there? And clearly he's going to be the future of 205 Live, you know, the best kept secret kind of thing. I'd love to see a rivalry with him and Gargano at some point down the line. I think that's money.
I could see that.
You know what, JD? I do want to say though, and this is only from my personal experience with 205 Live, which I can care less for. I think I've been vocal about this in the past, especially in our previous Wrestlecasts. You know, I would like to see this rivalry continue between Gargano and Ciampa, but I just think that maybe if they were to end up on 205 Live, it could potentially hurt them, and not a lot of people will care to see it. I love these guys. I love the feud that's going on, but if it's something that's going on at 205 Live, I might not be engaged as much as I am if they remain on NXT or go over to the main roster and just skip the 205 Live period. I think these guys just deserve so much more, and to me, 205 Live is kind of like a step back even from NXT. So, I mean, that's just my opinion.
They're doing with 205 Live what TNA's doing essentially for a whole company is they're getting that old stink off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe by the end of the year, your viewpoint will change on what 205 Live Live is, because right now, the last like month or so, there's been a clear improvement. I've been really liking the differing main events that's doing. One in particular was the Tornado Tag match between Hideo Itami, Akira Tozawa against Lince Dorado and Grand Metalik. That match was ridiculously good. Rad, if there's a match that will at least make you rethink that even one iota, that would be a match to check out.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. And you know, one thing that I want to maybe give credit, and not to knock the guy, but I want to say Enzo may have hurt the product, and now that he's gone, I think it's a major improvement to what it was before. I just think nobody was able to take it seriously, you know, before. And when they had that,
absolutely right.
Yeah, and when they had the cruiserweight, match over on the pre-show, was it of WrestleMania? If memory serves me right, I think even what's his name now, Drake Maverick, formerly known as Rockstar Spud, personally issued or presented the championship. Like, it just had a lot of prestige to it, and I did like that. And I just think maybe if they had more of that, the product itself will have a lot more respect, from the fans and even myself.
Yeah, well, they had that gauntlet match to push Kalisto over as a true contender, and we saw that at the Greatest Royal Rumble where Cedric Alexander, who by the way is doing great, not having a microphone in his hand and not being on the air as often. I think it makes it's good for his character because he doesn't have much of one, honestly, or at least persona-wise.
Yeah.
And the match that they put on at the Greatest Royal Rumble was, in my opinion, the match of the night, at least from a wrestling perspective, which is the point of which these guys are supposed to do. I really appreciated that. And it was on the main card. It wasn't on some pre-show.
Years since WrestleMania, that match the other day. Holy shit.
Yeah, go on, Travis. Keep going.
Cedric Alexander, it was really good. And it's a shame because that crowd was exhausted from just seeing Cena and Triple H kick it off.
Oh,
so
yeah.
They didn't really react as much.
To be honest, that crowd didn't look into it from the start. All the Sheiks were in their corner hanging out, powwowing.
Oh man, I saw that going on the whole night.
Chilling. You say you can have the best match in the whole world, but if it's in front of a dead crowd, it takes away a lot. Thankfully, that match was incredible, so it is worth a second look. I've been doing a 205 live show for almost a year, and it's something I feel like I've been complaining about forever. When your show is based around these guys, that their gimmick is they're phenomenal in ring, it's not fucking hard to book this show. Streamline, vignette every now and then, let the in-ring work do the talking. But unfortunately, we can't ever have that.
Right.
It's Gaga. It's bullshit. It's Alicia Fox, and it's never been
It's the new
hard to
bathroom
figure out
break.
what the problems were.
Yeah. I think maybe if it was a separate show on its own, it would definitely work. I totally agree with you on that, Travis.
I mean, to think that a show and a division that has guys like Grand Metalik, TJ Perkins, all these guys in it, has become the equivalent to the old Divas piss break when it comes on. And that's a shame, because these guys are tremendous.
Or maybe they should turn the what is the NXT weekly program? Maybe like an hour long. Maybe we should make it a 2-hour show. Stick into 205 Live either before or after. I think that would work as well.
No, I think 2 hours is just too long. There's not enough diversity in the talent. That would die out very quickly. Those 2 hours.
Just eradicate the cruiserweight show. Have the title, okay? Cut fat with some of these guys. Okay, God bless him. There is no need to have Ari Daivari on my television screen. He doesn't add anything, and that's no slight. But he's the epitome of a channel changer right now, just like a Zack Ryder or Mojo Rawley. You cut the fat, you cherry pick the best guys, and there's no reason Cedric can't go for the IC belt. There's no reason a cocky TJP can't have some hilarious angle with Braun. How great would that be? Braun getting his hands on that little shit. I would love that. You could go on for hours about the problems with the cruiserweights, though. I mean, that's just
right. No, I hear you. So, well, speaking of problems, okay, so we recently had the Superstar shakeup post-Mania, and it was a big deal. We saw a bunch of returns, debuts, what have you. My personal opinion on all this between Raw and SmackDown is I think WWE phoned it in on all these debuts and returns. I think they phoned it in during the Superstar shakeup. SmackDown, we still haven't even seen these guys announced, so my quick opinion is why bother announcing them at all? It just feels like it's an expectation to essentially just have these debuts for the sake of debuts after Mania, because it is the Raw after Mania is the biggest show, their biggest television show of the year. We've already seen the ratings plummet afterwards. So is it even? My question is then, is it even worth just feel like having this obligation at this point, and why not just build something smaller over time than just this one night pop episode that is just phoned in? It's just, here's an entrance. I didn't even get the pops when these guys showed up. It felt like a wasted effort almost. I'm being pretty negative Nancy here, but it's just my opinion.
No, and you know what? I totally 100% agree with you. It's become tiresome. You know what the best surprises are in life? The ones you never see coming. And when you expect debuts every year, the Raw after Mania takes a lot away. And that's why you hear less and less each year at Raw after Mania from the crowd when these new debuts come up. Like, it's kind of there still. It was all right. Bobby Lashley was shocking how low it kind of was. It should have been bigger pop.
Sure.
Been in the rumors. You know what I mean? I hate what this Raw after Mania has become. This expectation that new blood has to show up.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah. Rad, what is your thought on this?
Yeah, same thing. I think Travis described it perfectly. I guess a lost art that lacks in today's product is, back then you were literally shocked, you were surprised, and now it's like when you're expecting it, it's just not the same. I mean, yeah, sure, it creates maybe like a moment or a temporary pop, but it's just not lasting. And to be quite honest, it's not something memorable because I can't even. I watched the entire show, both Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania, and I can't remember what the hell I saw. So it just goes to show you that it just doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't make as much of an impact had it been maybe a surprise, and maybe
I'm sorry, Rad.
No, go ahead, man.
I don't mean to keep doing that.
No worries. I just really agree with you on this, and I think the whole Bobby Lashley thing would have been better done had it been, a shocking surprise and not expected because of, online rumors and whatnot. Maybe they should have saved it for the Superstar Shakeup the following week. Oh, we're trying to look for free agents and let's bring this guy on board. I don't know. It's just something that I just don't want to see anymore. Raw after WrestleMania, it just doesn't add anything to the product.
Speaking of Bobby Lashley, I can't not talk about it. What is his finisher? Is it really a delayed suplex?
Yeah.
Is it?
Travis, I know, right? You're laughing there, but yeah, I think that's what it is.
I haven't seen him do the Dominator or anything, so I guess they call him the Dominator every 30 seconds, but I haven't seen him use it.
And I'm seeing rumors that Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley is just off the table as an option. Like, what? I'm wondering now if that was written in Lesnar's new contract. I can't face that guy. Nuh-uh.
And that's unfortunate because that's probably the only thing he can have, going for him today. And that's something that I wouldn't mind seeing. I can't stand Lesnar right now, but if he were to go up against somebody like Bobby Lashley, that's money. It'll appeal to wrestling fans and, MMA fans.
Sure. Well, anyways, okay. So so there is some positives to take out, and that is the new card set up on not just Raw, but also SmackDown. SmackDown, ran away with SmackDown won clear as day. I think we all agree with that. But
they monopolized the roster.
This is the best potential setup on both shows in years. Travis, we spoke about this before with Rollins having the Brett belt, the IC title. Lesnar's going to have that title for forever, or he's going to fight with Roman Reigns forever. And Rad, did I not?
You're excited for Roman and Jinder. Just admit it. The possibility of that feud.
Oh my god! But Rad, did I not get my wish? Did I not get my wish?
I guess you did, apparently.
I hate that belt, that red jam belt so much, that have Lesnar and Reigns fight forever so I don't have to care about it and watch it, and god damn it, did I get my wish. And a botched finish on top of it.
Yeah.
I saw nothing but a highlight, and it was like, yep, that's what we got. So, we'll get there. Because it's absolutely hilarious what happened at the Greatest Royal Rumble, because it was a show that happened. So Rollins has the IC title, and this is what I've deemed establishing the card on both brands. You can have your Lesnar and your Reigns, have the jam belt, okay? What if you're gonna have a weekly television show? You have to establish a card. So these are the names I've put in, just top of my head. I put this in the doc here. I have Rollins as the IC champion, a heel Bobby Roode, and I use heel specifically for a reason. Finn Balor, Lashley, Strowman, Ziggler, McIntyre as a duo, KO and Sami Zayn as the duo. Either guy will work. Then you have guys left over for various rivalries. Elias, you get your Elias, your Jinder, your Rise of Mike Kanellis, who we saw return, by the way. Your Nohoe Jose, your Chad Gable, Dean Ambrose is injured, Bo Dallas, what have you. These guys don't all. You build something around your main talent guys, always going for that IC title. You're gonna have your undercard guys like your Elias and that don't need the title, but they can still have a reason to fight and win matches. What are your thoughts on my situation with Raw and establishing the card? Are you guys in the same picture? Are you in the ballpark? Are you feeling it more or less? Like, what do you feel?
Travis?
I think that the main thing I would do is to get, obviously, that jam title relevant again and Lesnar back to being an attraction. I don't want the IC title because it, like, as much as I love that belt, and just the workhorse aspects of it, I still like my world title to be my world title. You know what I mean? Maybe that's the old school in me.
No, it makes sense, but that's
goddamn...
not what's being presented in front of us. So I'm trying to work with what's given to us.
The best case scenario, yeah. I mean, totally. I don't want it to go back to guys like Ezekiel Jackson at all. You know what I mean? I definitely agree. It should. The guy right now, he's red hot.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Intercontinental Championship. I think it has so much history and prestige behind it. So having guys like Seth Rollins defend it and battle for it, I think it just adds that much to the championship, which is rightfully deserved to the title that has been in our lives for a very long time. As far as you mentioned, JD, what's presented to us, it's unfortunate that the main event championship is considered the part-time non-legends title belt, if you will.
Right.
But it's I mean, it is what it is, and just nobody cares for it. I can still honestly say that the only time that I gave a damn about this championship was when Finn Balor won it at SummerSlam. What was it, 2015? Unfortunately, the day after, due to injury, he had to relinquish it, and that was the end of it. Ever since then, it just became a championship as what we're seeing right now with Brock Lesnar. I'm a WCW guy, huge fan of Goldberg. I didn't mind him holding on to the championship during that time, but just having Lesnar have the championship is like, oh my God, maybe it'd be better if somebody else were to challenge him for it, but then you have, Roman Reigns, and it's just not a product. It's not working. WWE seems to, just not get the hints, and they just continue to give us what we don't want to see. We don't care for it. So if the Intercontinental Championship is going to be the next best thing on Monday Night Raw, to keep me engaged and for me to care to watch the show, I mean, so be it. I'm okay with it. But again, I agree with Travis that the old school aspect is it shouldn't be like that. That should be the mid-card workhorse championship, and you need the main championship to be, what's presented in the main event.
Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, I think the guys left for the rivalries that I named, your Noah Hase, your Mike Kanellis, I think Elias is going to remain a simple gimmick to just be on Monday Night Raw. I think Bo Dallas is going to be a punching bag. Chad Gable, I hope. God damn it, that guy can wrestle, and I really hope they do more than just have him get jobbed out to guys like Jinder Mahal.
Yeah,
they beat him, so that's good.
Yeah,
they should have kept them as a tag team.
I'm also really afraid that they're going to use Ziggler and McIntyre as a tag team only for quite some time.
If anything needs to change in that company as far as Raw and top guys, it was when McIntyre cut that promo. You know what I mean? Right there, that guy is capable. You talk about an IC division changer, bringing credibility, right? He's got everything right now. You know what I mean? They need to go that route immediately. Yeah. At least I wouldn't even hate him as a heel against Roman as a babyface, because at least McIntyre's still in the feud. He's just that good right now for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I did see that promo, and it was quite funny how real he was in it. He's like, I see a bunch of guys that are complacent and don't pretty much give a shit where they are anymore. I'm their wake up call, because he was there. He was in that position years ago, so he knows. It felt real to me. And McIntyre,
I just want them to do what they never do, is capitalize on a promo like that while it's relevant, while it's hot, while it's fresh. Don't wait months and then realize, okay, when the guy's been fucking wrestling Apollo Crews or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's too late afterwards.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to SmackDown. Establishing the card mentality here. I have your WWE title guys. Now, you can disagree with the guys. I'm curious who you guys would change out in this, but I have Styles champion Nakamura, Daniel Bryan, Rusev, Orton, Samoa Joe, and Almas, in parentheses, thank fucking God, Zelina Vega is with him.
Yes. We were totally afraid of that, but no, she came on board with him, so that's great.
Whom we haven't fucking seen on SmackDown yet. If he's not there tomorrow night, I might as well just give up on watching highlights of SmackDown, because then they'll put him as a jobber to frickin' they'll put him in Ty Dillinger territory.
Oh man,
they might wait till then to bring him out, do something.
Have him interfere in the Hardy match or something. At least start him in a heavy duty mid card, because Jeff Hardy's still the U.S. champion, and I think you keep Miz there, no matter how over he is. I think he's perfect for the mid-card to carry that. He proved that with his IC title runs. Ty Dillinger's that same type of character. You have potential with anyone from Sanity doing that, not just in the tag division. Cesaro and Sheamus are capable of doing that, clearly, because Sheamus is heading out, let's face it. Cesaro is a workhorse, as good as anyone. Big Cass is perfect for that. But he's a big, sweaty guy, 7 feet tall, so clearly what they're doing with him against Bryan, which I agree with the rivalry, but I don't think Cass is a main event guy. That's my personal opinion. You're Shelton Benjamin. I want to see Big E go for the U.S. title, not just be your Freebird New Day type character. And you can have various guys occasionally challenge or move up and down for momentum. One note I want to make in particular is Sheamus being on his way out. I think when the time does happen, because it is going to happen, you bring up a Cassius Ohno, because he'd be perfect. If Travis, you'd be definitely familiar with this, with the Chris Hero, Claudio Cesaro tag team.
I would pop so hard if they did that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm surprised they
the only tolerable version of Chris Hero for me is in that tag team. I'm sorry. I'm not a big Chris Hero.
Like I wasn't even a Ring of Honor guy at the time, but those two stood out.
Yeah, I definitely knew who they were as well, and I wasn't even watching Ring of Honor.
Yeah. So what do you guys think of the situation I have in front of you? I know I gave you guys a copy of the agenda. So who would you move up? Who would you move down? Do you have anything you'd like to change or say about what's in front? Travis, why don't you go first?
I'd love this, or not. Okay, I'll do 5-6 months. Maybe SummerSlam. I'd love to see Ty Dillinger and Almas for the U.S. title.
Ooh, that would be good.
That would be, hell of a match.
I'm so thankful you said that about Almas, because I feel like I was one of the few guys that I don't want to see him shoehorned immediately into the main event. Seeing you start small with him, I feel like he's worth it. I think Hardy could definitely give him that boost too.
Yeah, even though I say he's a main event guy, I'm always for having guys run the mid card and earn their way, which is what they missed doing with Jinder hard.
Main event situation of SmackDown's fine right now. No need to throw him in just yet. Samoa Joe's there waiting to jump in any second.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, there's plenty of talent right there, but in time, Almas can get there. Because he is definitely that kind of character.
And even an old line and a young cub type storyline with Almas and Styles for no belt just for the storyline sounds like gold on paper to me in the future. And it's worth waiting for, because Almas is that good.
Yes. Hell yeah, man. And I think that would bring over some New Japan marks to at least watch the product or give it a chance.
Rad, what do you think about the characters and positions I have them in?
I agree with your list. The only thing is I'm not sure, and this is only my opinion. I know he's over AF right now, but I still can't see Rusev as a main eventer or even challenging for the main championship. Yeah, I'm not. I haven't bought into that. It's not my thing. To me, what I'm a fan of when it comes to pro wrestling is, the seriousness, the story of an actual competition. And this whole Rusev Day just comes off as comedic, and I'm afraid down the road it's going to become another New Day. It's only a fad right now. Give it some months and people are going to forget about it, And I'm just not a fan of that. I'd rather see Rusev seriously crush people than come out, chanting Rusev Day this, Rusev Day that. I'm just not a fan of it. So as far as I'm concerned, again, I think the guy is very talented. He deserves to be in a main program, but I just don't know if the main event is fit for him. I would stick him, the mid card, at least for, the U.S. title picture.
Okay, but then who would you move up then instead?
Okay, then who would I move up? Let's say you mentioned Sheamus is possibly on the way out. And I mean, let's face it, I doubt they'll never do anything with the Kings of Wrestling. It is WWE. We all want to see that, but I doubt they'll ever do anything with that. So keep Cesaro singles, man. I've been saying it before that this guy should have been world champion years ago. And maybe this might be his time. So I definitely move him up, and I think you would have a stacked, main event card there for the
switch those two
WWE Championship picture. Yeah.
Okay. I just don't think the reason I put Rusev there is he is money. He can be put in any situation with any character at any time. It's not just this Rusev Day thing. That's not why I put him there, because as long as he has as long as he's Bulgarian, he will never be a face.
I miss the old heel Rusev, like you said, Rad, and I'd love to see stop getting behind it, and they're so hell-bent on keeping him a heel. You just make it to where, like, he turns on Aiden English out of nowhere. You take out the comedic part of the act, then you bring back Lana with her hair up and make it serious again.
Oh my God, yes.
And then I totally could see him in a world title picture if he's serious, Rusev.
With that package. You know, and it's funny you mentioned that, because I think the whole package that he had with Lana as his manager kind of reminded me of Ivan Drago from Rocky IV. So I just think it worked, and that's the Rusev I want to see, you know, not chanting Rusev Day and making a mockery of himself. I mean, yeah, it's over, but, you know, we need a story behind it. And if he's going to be in the main event picture, definitely have him, you know, turn on English, get Lana back as his manager, and just crush his opponents to death, you know, similar to what they're doing with Braun Strowman.
Right.
I miss the Rusev that was fighting Jack Swagger in flag matches and pay-per-views.
Yeah.
All right, so before we get into the Greatest Royal Rumble, I have one more note to make, and that's actually the state of the women's division on SmackDown. There's Charlotte, Becky Lynch, Asuka, and Naomi, all faces. Current champions Carmella. I think you have to build the Iconics hard, because you're basically they're the only heels currently. Because Lana ain't gonna win no matches, and no Nikki Cross with Sanity is a huge mistake. They say that she has unfinished business in NXT, probably a Shayna Baszler thing down the line, which is fine. I think diversity is lacking here. Is my fear. Especially with the rumor of a women's tag title and a TV title along the line coming. I'm very afraid for the future of the women's division, particularly on SmackDown. The talent's there, don't get me wrong.
I'm not gonna like this. I really enjoyed Carmella as a heel this week on SmackDown.
No, I loved it. I loved it. I don't disagree with that at all. It was really surprising. It's my favorite segment I've seen in quite some time. From WWE.
Playing the highlight like 3 times. That was great.
I liked how Charlotte was like looking at her nails, not giving her a time of day, and then she takes her out and flips the hair real hard, and it was great. But yeah, go on.
But you're right. They need to do something with the Iconics fast. I totally agree. They need to get more heels down there that are credible. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Down there, like it's W. By the way, I don't know.
A Naomi heel. I don't know if that would work.
It can just change her entrance.
Yes, I mean her entrance is over. I don't think they have any obligation to do it, but Rad, what is your thought on the women's division?
What's up, Travis?
I said Rad hates everything that's over.
Yeah, I mean, Naomi's entrance is just another thing that I'm not buying into. It annoys me like big time. So I'd rather see her as a heel and just get that entrance out of the way. But either way, as far as like the women's division, I'm actually liking it right now. I just think that they could definitely use more heels, and they put themselves in the position where, the Iconics are like the only ones available, in that situation. But as far as the women's division, I think it's grade A right now. Huge fan of Becky Lynch, always have been. Charlotte, I think, is the best women's wrestler, today, so she definitely has credibility. I'm okay with Carmella being the champion. I think she's playing the role of a heel, great. I'm not a fan of hers entirely, but I will give her credit where credit is due, and I'm liking the way it's shaping up right now. So hopefully they can just divide that roster and balance it out as far as the heels and faces are concerned. But it's going strong.
It's off to a strong start. I am, regardless of the diversity, and that's. I'm afraid of the diversity that I'm seeing right now. It's really lacking. because I just can't buy Carmella as a champion other than a slick runaway heel. If she pulls that off, which she's off to a phenomenal start, then more power to her. I'm just afraid of what's possibly to come.
Yeah.
All right, so we got the greatest Royal Rumble to discuss, and then we're out of here because we're going long. Travis, what'd you think of what you've seen from the GRR, this glorified house show that was possibly better than Mania as a whole?
A lot of non-progression except for like Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. And other than that, man, I mean, the Roman stuff, it kind of worked out well that I thought it was a botch, because then Roman can complain some more that he got screwed over, I guess, in the storyline. But
yeah, have a rematch.
I don't want to say waste of time, but just a big case of I'll just catch highlights or hear what happened from a friend, because nothing, especially the Rumble match, besides the Titus botch, nothing really noteworthy that I would.
The Rumble match was a waste of space.
Really long too. I mean, what was it, like an hour and a half, 2 hours?
Yeah, Daniel Bryan came out 1 or 2 or something, and
yeah, I think he was number 1.
And he's now the longest Rumble entrant ever.
I really thought they were going to give it to him, but I think it was highly predictable that Braun Strowman was going to.
Yeah, I mean, the odds had him at number 1, like, bar none.
Yeah.
It was boring to predict he was going to win.
Yeah.
A weird feeling show the whole way through. From everything I saw, I mean, it felt. There's obviously, yeah, Saudi Arabia, but it just something felt off in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, not just the dead crowd. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Well, the show was long. I think it clocked in at 5 hours or so. I remember starting it at 11 Central, my time, and I don't think it finished until like maybe 3:30 or 4 o'clock. I was just checking it out, there at work, and it it went on and on and on. The show, for what it was, I think it was good. It wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I feel much the same way there.
Yeah, but the length of time is just, I think, what killed it, and just too many botches. Obviously it's sad that the fall of Titus O'Neil became like the highlight of the night.
Going under the ring apron.
Yeah.
I still say he did it on purpose. I've watched it in slow-mo. I do not see where he trips. And you know what? Smart business, because everyone's talking about Titus right now. If he did do it on purpose, tip of the hat.
I'm actually with you. When that happened, I go, no way he didn't do that on purpose.
Not only that, like, it mirrored exactly that fall that he had on NXT, which a lot of people were posting on Twitter. I was like, holy crap, it's like identical.
Did you guys see somebody made it in like WWE 2K18? They reenacted that Titus falling. It was great.
No,
I did see that. That was funny. Yeah, they're going under the ring for a weapon or something, but they're cutting it out. Yeah, it was good. The turning point of the night was definitely the Jeff Hardy Jinder match, where it's been so long. I mean, I watch a lot of indie wrestling. I don't know if you listened to this cast before. But holy shit, I have never seen, or I can't remember the last time I saw a match go from a kind of an average 3-star, okay, yeah, it's fine, to a what the hell happened? It happened in one moment, and then it just went in the shitter. And that was when Jeff Hardy goes for a Whisper of the Wind. Jinder, I don't know where he was off on a smoke break somewhere. When Jeff Hardy lands, Jinder falls behind him and then holds his back like he got hit. It's the biggest botch I remember seeing in a long time. This makes Titus's because people trip. I see guys trip on ropes or trip all the time. I've seen Matt Hardy fall over. Like, oh my god, what happened? Travis, did you see this moment?
Did. Oh boy. Everyone in this.
Wow, like it is. Like, kudos to Jeff Hardy for trying to carry it from then on out, but Jinder looked like he was deer in headlights from that moment on. He didn't know what he was doing. Incredible how lost he got. Words. Rad, do you have words?
Other than what you mentioned, I totally agree with you on that. Nothing else I can say about it.
Yeah, but luckily the IC title ladder match continued a good Rollins Balor build. I really liked the spot where Rollins did a freaking sweet top rope kind of jump onto the ladder and essentially rip the title out of Balor's hands at the end. To me, that was the moment of the night. Like, not comical in any way.
Yeah.
Rough. There you go.
Yeah. So, that's all I got about the Greatest Royal Rumble. Really, I didn't watch the Lesnar Reigns match at all.
It was 92. Let's be real. The Greatest Royal Rumble was 92. Fuck you, WWE. It will always be the Greatest Royal Rumble.
Is that the famous Ric Flair tear in my eye Royal Rumble?
Put that cigarette out in the background.
Yeah, no, I agree. 1992 is still my favorite Royal Rumble.
It was good.
So those are my thoughts. If anyone else has any final thoughts, now's the time, and then I can get to the top 10 WWE wrestlers, and then we can get the hell out of here.
I think I just want to add as well. The only match I did not watch, JD, was Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar.
Oh, you have joined my fray.
Same deal. I didn't bother, but then I kind of like timed it in my head. So maybe about 20-30 minutes in, after taking care of an assignment, I tuned back in and I just saw the last part where, he speared Lesnar to the cage, and that was that. So I guess I saw the most important moment of the match anyway. As far as match of the night is concerned, I actually really liked the Nakamura AJ Styles match.
Oh yeah, that was better than their Mania match, I think.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to get at. I think it was really good.
I especially like the no finish at the end. I like that as well.
Yeah, no contest. On outside of U.S. soil, I think it worked well and just kind of like keeps you engaged, wanting to see this feud continue. So I definitely cared, or I was more engaged in this match than I was with their match at WrestleMania. So that was good. And again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Not to take away from the match, I think it was really good. I just think that it was just overly hyped, and it was expected to be 5-star, very similar to their match at Wrestle Kingdom. Of course, we didn't get that. So, but this match at the Greatest Royal Rumble, it worked well, and I really liked it.
Travis?
Yeah. On Slam Pigs, I said this match is going to be better than their Mania match. I feel like they were holding back in that match because they knew they were having this match. I just hated the finish, but it makes sense. They need to prolong the feud.
Yeah. Backlash.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so I'm going to run down my top 10 WWE wrestlers in between Mania and the Greatest Royal Rumble.
Go for it.
Number 10, I have Jeff Hardy. Won the U.S. title against Jinder. Somehow carried a Jinder match despite, what happened. 9 is Aleister Black, because I really liked his match against EY on NXT last week. If you haven't caught that, really nice. 8 is AJ Styles because of Rad, the match we just mentioned. I think he was the better performer there. That's just my opinion.
Sure.
7 is Adam Cole from NXT last week. 5, 6 is Killing Dane Lars Sullivan from their crazy ass match on NXT a couple weeks ago. 4 is Kalisto for the Greatest Royal Rumble match. 3, Seth Rollins. Liked his matches on Raw from the Raw highlights I saw, and I think he was the MVP performer in the ladder match. Grand Metalik is 2. There you go, Travis. There's our boy. Yeah, again, Brad, the 205 Live Tornado Tag match, Grand Metalik, it was above and beyond a performer. And number 1's Drew Gulak. You guys shocked with that one?
Yeah, actually I am. I
so
have expected
there was a gauntlet match on 205 Live last week. And Drew Gulak's had a few good performances prior, but in this particular match, he basically outperformed 3 straight dudes, similar to the Seth Rollins performance in January in his gauntlet match. Drew Gulak pulled out some very good in-ring storytelling, selling moves, looking strong at the same time. He's definitely a guy. He was easily my number 1 in WWE the past. A lot of people are going to disagree with this list, but honestly, I could care less.
I think maybe Travis might agree with you on that one.
I am the biggest Gulak fan in the entire world, and I give it my approval.
Hooray! So the updated overall table, Jay Lethal and Zack Sabre Jr. are tied for number 1 on the 2018 year with 38 points. Will Ospreay is number 3 at 34. Walter moves up to number 4 at 32. He cracks the top 10. He's currently the only indie wrestler in the top 10. 30 is Almas. He's hanging in there. Roderick Strong at number with 29 points, tied with Kenny Omega. Johnny Gargano and the Young Bucks with 28, and Okada is at number 10 at number 27. I somehow have a suspicion that Okada is going to rise up in a couple weeks. Yeah, so Jay Lethal, Zack Sabre running the top right now with the Will Ospreay. What do you guys think of the updated overall table? You got some predictions for later in the year who might come up, or surprised on who's on there right now?
Travis, take it away.
I think Nakamura might be creeping in. I think he's going to get the title eventually. He's going to get some big wins this year.
You think WWE has the balls to put on him? Because I'm still on that. Until I see that title on him, I'm not buying it.
Put it on a foreign guy. At least they're a heel usually, right? So he's got that going for him.
He doesn't speak English though. They're even got the no speak English promos.
That's actually working well though. I think it just adds to his heel character, and I'm definitely digging it so far. I am a fan of heel Nakamura more than a face Nakamura.
Do you think they have the balls to put the title on heel Nakamura at least?
I hope so. I mean, the whole point, SmackDown has always been, the difference between Raw and SmackDown is Raw always came off as like the entertainment show versus SmackDown which was more about, world competition. It's always been like that ever since, they did the first, draft in, what was it, 2002?
Right.
So hopefully they can continue with that, especially with guys like Almas, Shinsuke Nakamura. You have competitors from all around the world, so why not put the strap on somebody from, Japan? And I think Nakamura is the perfect fit.
Let's not forget my favorite guy in the entire world, who I feel like is going to climb your list quite rapidly. Samoa Joe's going to have a big year. I'm calling.
Oh
it.
Yes.
Oh well, barring
so.
Injury, yeah, that's a good call, Travis. Actually,
yeah, it really is. I hope so. And Samoa Joe really is the it guy. So if there's another one to put in that main event picture, I mean, hell, why not Samoa Joe?
Yeah, I mean, if I could give the guys points for promos alone, he'd be up there.
He's always been a good talker on the mic, ever since his days in TNA. And even though we've seen it before in TNA, I think it's time the world gets to see AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe in WWE.
Bring in Christopher Daniels for one last hurrah, just one match in WWE with those two.
Oh, that'd be great. I mean,
just leave the singlet at home. Please don't wear the singlet.
Well, all right. Last ditch promos, and then I can cue Jay Lethal's music out of here. Rad, go first, and then Travis, you just pick up where he left off, and we'll call this a night for the Red Leaf Wrestlecast. Go with it, Rad.
Okay. What are we doing? Plugs?
Yeah, do it.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Plugs and any last minute thoughts.
Okay, cool. I think this is where we'll close the show. Thank you guys for tuning in. It was an honor to be a part of this Wrestlecast episode 3 with both the Hibiki TMD and JD from the Retrocast. Again, you can find me on YouTube, Brad Zero. I cover both pro wrestling and retro gaming. And you can also find me on Twitter, Rad083. Tweeting nothing but pro wrestling and retro gaming. I like to show you, my collection, items that I want to add to my collection. Huge wrestling action figure fanatic. So if you're into the same things, highly suggest check me out.
All right.
This is Terry Bollea. Check out Hibiki TMD on YouTube, brother, at the Hibiki TMD. No, on Twitter at the Hibiki TMD.
That was pretty good.
Button podcast here in the Retro Gaming. Slam Pigs podcast, our weekly Raw SmackDown review. Never drew a dime. All sorts of goodness. Slam Pigs Union Smack is coming back. Yeah, check it out. Thanks for having me again, boys.
All right. Thank you both. Okay.
I already hit stop on my recording, JD.
Yeah.
That cool?
Yeah, I
Alright.
hit stop as well. We're just we're ending here. Thank you guys. I kept you guys a lot for a while. It was a pretty stacked card, but luckily we didn't go 3 hours.
No, it was good timing. It was good. I think we touched base on a lot of awesome topics and had our opinions stated and whatnot. So
Excellent.
really good show.
Travis, thanks
really fun.
thanks for putting up with me and my opinions.
Oh, we agreed pretty much the whole show. I don't think we had a single disagreement, actually.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
It was, yeah, we were all in pretty much the same thought pattern, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. I had a blast. I always have a good time doing this. I just gotta get you guys watching more indie stuff. That's where a lot of conversation comes from.
Yeah, I know it's I guess it's just relying heavily on you carrying it, but I think in spite of all that it went really well. I just need to get in tune with a lot more of the indie stuff.
Yeah. Well,
Much wrestling out there to watch.
yeah, there's a lot of
There's
wrestling,
a ton of
but
Yeah.
hey, kicking WWE off my weekly television thing frees up a lot of time immediately.
Yeah, I gotta probably do the same.
Yeah, I just watch a YouTube highlight when it's all done, and it's like 15 minutes. I'm like, good, got it all done.
I do for Slam Pigs most of the time. Don't tell anybody.
Well, that's all you need, really.
Secret.
Last week, because I felt bad for Colin, I watched the entire both shows because he carried my ass so bad 2 weeks ago. I just he read out the whole format because I didn't get to watch anything. So definitely check out.
Do you guys need me to put my email address in the Discord one more time so you can send me your files?
Yeah, you can still do it. I might already have you saved, but I'll
Twitter group chat for our for that show that you made.
Hey, which that begs the question. We were live on YouTube, right, JD?
We were.
Okay, so this recording that you're